Hello. Yeah. Everything works. We're gonna be trying out some crazy dwarf builds today. Hope you guys are ready. In other news, I also contacted CA. I gave them a list of some important multiplayer stuff that I would love to see get addressed in the next patch. So like Skaven and Nurgle being hot garbage, Slanesh being OP for over a year, damage tracker for spectator and in-game. Let's see here, showing winds of magic and passive faction effects in the spectator mode. Norska, please don't make them OP when you give them a DLC because they're already very strong. Stuff like death streaks being oddly immune to direct hits. Let's see here, ability balance and spell balance, because right now it's wildly off. Shaking up the spell meta, unit control issues like flying units not landing, chasing and leashing issues, range unit line of sight, all that. I think if they don't even mention these things in the next patch, like I'm fine if they're like, hey, we know this thing exists, but it's gonna take some time to implement, that's totally fine. If they don't even address it, I think that's when things get a little sus. So fingers crossed. I know y'alls are very skeptical, but I'm still holding out hope for this one last patch. Fingers crossed, man. For now, though, let's go ahead and get into this tournament. So I'm playing dwarves. Kaiser Wilhelm, what's up? Goblins. Round one.
Yo.
How goes, man? Are we gonna face each other today? Maybe. Starting off against hey, gamer guy 1313. I was just messaging them. How wonderful. I think that's that means it's very likely we have a dwarf mirror on our hands. Oh my god. The dread Dawi mirror to kick it all off. Oh boy. This should be fun. And I admire your optimism that Norska won't be OP in the new patch. So I would also be totally fine if CA's like, hey, this new patch, Norska could be OP because we can only get so much testing done. But the intention is we're gonna have a hot fix in 2 weeks. We'll get all your feedback and we'll fix those units. That would be pretty sick. It's what they usually do. But if they could just say it on paper, it would show that they actually listen to the community. This isn't the tutoring I asked for.
This isn't the tutoring I asked for.
Are you gamer guy 1313? It should be pretty fun. Yeah, new delay on Tides of Torment, please. Please, no, I don't need a second delay. Okay, so best of luck, good sir. Sent you the lobby code. We got some, let's see, what do we got? We got Daceberg in here, we got Big H. Jacker Skins. Miss New Booty. Martin, Pontim's Claw. None of the mega big names, none that truly bring fear to us, but we are playing dwarves, so we are naturally handicapped. They only got the Thunder Tusk unit cap in on the last patch, so I don't know, always hope though. In this case, I'm directly messaging CA instead of hoping that they'd kind of catch a stream or something. So I've given them my list of like biggest issues, and we will see. I don't think they actually have a lot of manpower though, but I would appreciate at least, like, you know, somewhere in the multiplayer patch just say like, hey, these are things that we're working on. It will come later. You have been heard. That's all we really want, right? They don't even have to agree with us. Let's play Dunes of Cain. Fingies crossed. Alright, so playing as dwarves. I want to try a bunch of fun builds today. I have some ideas. I think, as you can see, one of the first ideas I want to try out are grudge throwers. I feel like grudge throwers. I feel like they're absolutely sick. Your guess is that they're working on end times and possibly 40k at the moment. A lot of people are talking about end times. I feel like, I have no idea anymore, man. I have no idea anymore. I feel like it's Nagash. I feel like Nagash and Thankful, they have to come in before the end of it. Doesn't End Times have like a bunch of bad rap with it though? Like, didn't Games Workshop kind of flub End Times? It makes sense though. They just posted that Tomb King's Lizardmen recruitment issues will push back DLC news. Let me see. Let me check official news. Oh, there's my opponent. How wondrous. Hey folks, we've been investigating. Is it going to be next month? Control F. Delay. There's no delay in this post. Let's see here. As long as it comes out this month, I think nothing really changes. Da, da, da. Tides of Torment will take a back seat until we resolve this issue. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't think it actually means it's delayed though. Hopefully not though. If we see Tides of Torment, we have to wait another month.
Now. Will return after I perish.
Alright, peace out. Yeah, we'll see. By skimming it, it seems like, yeah, they're just saying that they're working on it. But I don't think we're getting a big delay. Could be wrong though. You never know. Sometimes, man. Backseat definitely means delay. God dang it. Well, hey, maybe they'll have time to implement all the fun things that I've asked about. I think it's still good that they are polishing the game. Wish they could have done it a few years ago. But you know, polishing the game at the very end of its development, I guess that'll have to do. Let's see. How did the old meta work for this matchup? Are Slayers like super crazy here or no? I feel like yeah, I feel like if I just do this, I should be in the clear. Who wins? A Demon Slayer or a Dwarf Lord? I think Demon Slayer wins. No, Tides of Torment next year. Please, not like this. Not like this. We'll see. I think they're leaving it open right now, which obviously is pretty sus. I'm aware it's pretty sus. But we'll see when they actually give a date. That's a bad sign though. It's definitely a bad sign. I cannot tell a lie. It is definitely on the sus end. Is this a good build? Is this even a good build for dwarves? This feels like a terrible idea. This feels like an absolutely terrible idea. Let's lock in. With a Demon Slayer, what's it? You can make them immortal for 40 seconds. Oh, I guess. The immortality doesn't matter that much, though. Also, thank you. Welcome to the crew, Darkstrix. Again. This will be a short game. I wish. I get the joke, but dwarf mirror matches take a while, man. A lot of infantry posturing on this. Even Anticity's optimism is eroding. I think the problem is I've been saying we'll see the next DLC for a little while now. So I'll tell you the loop of my interactions with CA. It basically goes like they release the DLC or a patch or whatever. I'm like, oh, this is all great. But here's some really important stuff that's been bugging me for a while. And then they respond, they're like, oh yeah, like, you know, what's the issue? How can we replicate it? I'm like, yeah, here's the stuff, here you go. Gave this a few years ago, but it's fine, you know, new team, whatever, right? And then they're like, all right, great. Yeah, we will look into it. And it's like, okay, you know, that's good. And then it's like radio silence on the topic. And then by the time they release the patch, it's like, it's not fixed. And I'm like, oh, okay. Maybe it's, you know, benefit of the doubt. Maybe it's just, it's low priority or whatever. So like I bring up the issue. And then they kind of react like it's a new thing. It's very annoying. It's very, very annoying. And the problem is because each patch is like a different team. Okay, not actually. But it feels like... information doesn't stick. Which is an internal problem that I can't really fix. And I won't go into more detail. Because I don't want to break any rules. But it definitely feels like things get lost to the wind. This time, though, we'll see. You know, maybe this time's the time. Alright, ready, good luck, have fun. Yeah, you like the build. So this is the Napoleon Total War strategy of dwarves. If he goes for an artillery build, I should just be able to capture the points and stay back. This is the maximum number of range units I can take. And okay, he's gone for a bunch of miners, a melee squad, and some foot characters. Generally, should be, yeah, that should be weaker than the army that I have here. Because he doesn't have a lot of range, it's also quite good to get, like, the Brotherhood of Grimnir going and all that. We have a mobility advantage. So usually this this should just devolve into Dawi kite. It should be fairly simple. Kiting out the dwarves. I have the gyrocopter specifically to spot rangers. They're quite popular in this matchup. So they are a nice to have, that's for sure. And then we're gonna play this Napoleonic style. Take the high ground, beat them up. Get the peppering on them, you know? Gyro bombers are doing great. Axe throwers are wrecking shop. You'll love to see it. Garagrim got nothing on me. And if he does move in, I got a million guns. Barely dodged his blasting charges too. And this should go pretty well, actually. Now, the thing that's kind of sus here is he's just moving in with Garagrim. And that is some very suicidal behavior here. He did catch some of my guys, though. A little unfortunate. But, yeah, SCs are just not very good here. They just, yeah, they just kind of get shot up. So I'm definitely a little worried for my opponent here. He pulls back too. Oh, poor Garagrim. He's getting blasted. He's dodging for his life. However. Oh, he's doing the campaign tech. The thing is, I have a lot of ammunition, so it's not like we're really worried about that. Did get a good amount of damage on my Doom Seekers, though. But if I were him, I'd be just a little worried. So let's get our guns into position. As long as he never gets into melee with these guys, I'm pretty happy. Got to be careful about his Doom Seekers, though. Gyrocopters have spotted a few range units. I think we just fall back from here. And then use my superior firepower on this flank to just shoot him up, you know? I have a pretty ludicrous number of guns here. There's no real point taking this fight when he has overwhelming forces. What is that? There's a unit getting summoned in, okay. Kinda spooky. A little bit of a flank coming on in here too, but okay, just a couple miners, not a big deal. Doom Seekers can spin to win. We should be able to get some shots in there. Interesting that he's moving in again with his SE squad. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of Dwarven SE squads. They don't give you a lot of agency.
You have the foe's victory point.
Like, what have these guys really done, right? They control a little bit of space and then I just kite them. It's not exactly the prettiest situation for them. And I think, I feel like most Dwarf players should avoid the SE squad. Although, maybe I'll have to experiment with it, but personally, I've never been too impressed by them. Some Quarrelers over there. But yeah, realistically, we can just, we can just bog them down now. Bog them down in guns. But yeah, the problem here is like, these are just a bunch of useless guys. All the meanwhile, I'm getting a ton of extra value by spamming guns, who are much more readily available to farm value on the dwarves. I guess he does have 2 capture points, but we're not especially worried here. And then the gyrocopter should be able to farm him up pretty hard. I guess more infantry should be pretty good. There's a little bit of an issue here where Felix is healing up the boys. So we just want to deal with Felix and then I should be fine. But I wouldn't say this is how you would play dwarves versus most factions. There you go. There's the volley on Felix. But yeah, like what did this guy do? Garagrim has so many abilities and he has 600 value. He has gone less value than his abilities have generated. I'm just farming him, man. We're just farming him. Now, line of sight still kind of sucks, so unfortunately, I still have a bit of that issue to deal with. But, yeah, not a feel-good position, for sure. We're just gonna continue kiting him out here. He's very nearly dead. Massive range advantage, doing well. Hopefully we can actually get the finishing shot on this guy. Oh my god, flamethrowers. Ouch, 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 ouch. Well, I can't say you didn't get a sick play there. That was actually rather amazing. That flamethrower volley. I am still massively up trading, but my opponent made it a little bit more sus for me with that volley. Flamethrowers are good against against rangers. Who would have guessed? Especially on the flank shot. Overall, I think my opponent did good, but the build, I would definitely change the build up. Other than that, it was pretty nice. Yeah, Dwarf Mirror. Dwarf Mirrors are actually my favorite matchup in Warhammer 2, though. They're very technical. There's a lot to manage. And a lot of Napoleonic tactics going on. Excuse me, there we go. Felix is finally done for. Although I guess technically not done for. He hasn't actually left the battlefield yet. Dwarf Lord almost down. Yeah, he took so many abilities. He even took Revenge Incarnate. If you are a dwarf player, do not take so many abilities on your characters. This is one of the things that I asked CA to address. The micro is fine. I actually don't have a big problem with this micro. But CA, I can't explain why unless I get permission. But there's a really big issue in that abilities are horrifically unbalanced. They are terribly, terribly unbalanced on multiple levels. And one of the biggest things that I tell new players to do is to run no abilities. Which is obviously not optimal for game design. But yeah, if you want to improve your builds without just copying builds, the first thing you have to do is stop taking abilities. Most of the time they don't do anything. And a lot of the time you have to be like a pro player to make use of the ability to its full potential. But I think like Revenge Incarnate's like a 200 gold ability. It's stupid. It's dumb, man. I don't know why these abilities are so expensive. Even if it's 150, it's dumb. It's so dumb. Yeah, that's one of the things that I hope that they address in the next patch, but we'll see. We'll see. Kill everything without a beard. Everyone has beards. Kill everything with the beard? I guess with my friendly fire, maybe. But yeah, I think this patch, I'm not gonna lie, this patch is kind of, I don't know. I don't think I'm just gonna abandon ship if the patch doesn't go well. I don't think I'm at that point yet. But I think a lot is riding on this patch to do well, especially because it's like the only DLC of the year, basically. We'll see. Are they born with beards? Absolutely. If you're born without a beard, what are you doing? Every dwarf, the ladies, the guys. Shameful display to not have a beard. So he does have some Quarreler great weapons here, but this match is pretty over. It's just yeah, let's just push forwards a little bit. Value trading's through the roof for me. I really don't have to worry. Can I de-summon these guys? Some of them still have ammo, but maybe the ones with ammo I'll keep around. There we go. Also, I don't know why he's running away from this guy. So a little bit of miss micro here. You got to finish off the Slayer, man. There's no point keeping away from him. He's oh, he wanted to shoot him. Oh, but you friendly fired, man. What was the point? What was the point of that? Oh my gosh. Okay. A little bit of miss micro. A little bit too passive. That's another thing I've noticed with new players. You do have to learn to be more aggressive if you don't capture any points, you're just losing, right? Even some of the sweatiest of stall tactics will try to secure 1 point, but going for 0 points is just rough. No glorious death for the Slayer. Lore accurate dwarf spite, even with the friendly fire. That is some hardcore spite right there. Yeah, cost efficiency goes down the drain. Most heroes cost 1,000 gold. So a 200 gold ability should make them 20% more effective. That's a lot. Because they don't offer HP bonuses. The only times you see abilities, or you will see abilities more, either on like, you know, new players, or you'll see abilities more on really expensive characters. So Alberic kind of needs the 50% damage boost for some sniping attempts. And he's relatively expensive, so your cost efficiency doesn't go absolutely down the drain. He has a job and he needs to do that job really well. Foot characters though? Foot characters are usually taken because they're cheap. Like that's their main appeal. Because they're countered by like everything. So yeah, there's a little bit of an issue there. Also, yeah, this game's super over. I don't even need to fight him. This is a lesson in capturing points. Gotta keep an eye on the tickets, and you have to move very aggressively to capture your first point by the 1,000 mark, your second point by the 1,200 mark, and your third by the 1,500, obviously. If you don't play aggressively enough, your opponent can hunker down on 1 point, play it safe, and they will win. And with a faction like Dwarves, you should have been moving here like 5 minutes ago. Dwarves are a very slow faction. They generally do better, I would say. Most common dwarf strategies that work, you go for 1 capture point first, hunker down, and then you go for the next one. Still though, overall micro wasn't too bad. I think the biggest thing is you gotta adjust your values, right? Just like look at how expensive Belagar, Felix, and Garagrim are. And then you gotta figure out when to not take them. So like look at the cost that we're talking about here, right? I think he took Glorious Death at least. So even a pretty slimmed down build, right? So let's say no abilities. Oh wait, no, he had Belagar with like Oathstone and Revenge Incarnate, right? So this is like a slimmed down build. He still spent 3,000 gold. Almost 3,000 gold on this. He probably spent more. And you gotta ask yourself, are those 3 characters really worth? Are they really worth a Dread Saurian? Right? Did they really get the same value that you would off the Dread Saurian? Dread Saurian doesn't even pay for itself very often. It's an unfortunate truth. Sometimes if you take a lot of abilities, your hero cost is going to be the same as like a Shredder of Lustria. That's not really good. Is Belagar really as worth as like a Feral Carnosaur? The answer is often no. Yeah, almost like a Thunder Barge worth the value. So yeah, you gotta sub out some of that stuff. There's a little bit with positioning and strategy of like larger strategy stuff, like pushing 1 point. You kind of took a disadvantageous fight with a smaller force, while I kind of kited with my smaller force. Classic Sun Tzu. Fight them when they're weak. Fight them where they're weak. Don't fight them where they're strong. It sounds so obvious, but no one gets it. It's true, though. It is so true. But anyways, enough of that. I want to try some Grudge Thrower builds today. So dwarves are really good at just sitting back, relaxing, and letting the enemy come to you. So I have a crazy build in mind against some non-artillery factions, where I take the Eyes of Grugni on grudge throwers. They have the same range as cannons. They only cost 700. And it's kind of like Blessed Field Trebuchet spam, but actually viable. Because I can give these guys plus 44 range. They will almost have 500 range with the Eyes of Grugni. I can give them accuracy and reload skill. And then just pound town everything. And then you know what we use to defend this? Like 1,000,000 Slayers. Imagine. Imagine. And then these guys have a vigor reduction. They have the old grumblers. So I can keep these guys high vigor. I probably don't need that though, but... Yeah, I'm thinking like we just have a bunch of giant slayers and we just take in pound town. If they have too much infantry, life will suck. And then if they just capture the points, I can slow push to one of them. Oh yeah, Archaon's insane. So like Archaon does have some pretty chonky abilities, right? So like this lets them have terror. This lets them have terror. The thing is, the Slayer of Kings is kind of janky. I would highly recommend not taking this Slayer of Kings. Most of the time, it's not really an ability that will do well. Every time I've seen it, it's never been like, you know, blow your brains out, because Archaon's more of like a counter-punching lord. It can be useful in some situations, though, don't get me wrong. And it only makes him 10% more expensive. You know what sucks, though? This. Look at these 3 abilities. So this is terror on a faction that really needs terror. Leadership and ITP. So that's like Grill Relique levels of aura buffing with 55 meters. That's insane. You have Slayer of Kings, which is almost double damage for 25 seconds. That's okay. And then you have the Armor of Morkar. Which I guess is just stand your ground. It's just stand your ground. I don't see people using this at all. This is pretty garbage.
With items are most are buffs. Colossal Strike on a red-crested skink chief versus Colossal Strike on a red-crested skink chief on Ancient Stegodon are not the same. Lore of boats etc. better.
Yeah. The abilities are not scaled based on the lord. They're just flat cost. Which doesn't make sense from a game design perspective. I've been fighting CA about this for a while, by the way. Thank you for the donation, by the way, Paul. For the $10. Yeah, I've been fighting the good fight. I did say that is one of the reasons why I wanted to get back into the content creator program, because it looked like they were taking feedback, and I wanted to see if they were going to be receptive. But yeah, it confounds me. And then you have Lore of Boats. Seafang costs 150, bro. Holy crap. Holy moly, that's really bad. Here, I'll make a post. I have permission from them to spam as many random messages as I want. Cost the same. All right, there you go. Direct line of communication. Yeah, Cfang's crazy though. You know what CH should do to prove me wrong? If they really think their internal ability balance is good, they should add Cfang to every character in the game. I feel like, you know, I feel like that would be a really nice way to prove me wrong, right? Because clearly, you know, their ability balance is so good, right? You should be able to give abilities to everyone. I see no issue. Janky. Worst case scenario, they change the price of the Lord, but then they're balancing the Lord based on the ability. It's the worst. Braid of Bordello. Yeah, so I brought up we were talking earlier. There were some suggestions. So CA did actually respond to me. I don't know if I'm allowed to say their response. I'm gonna avoid that. I can say that I wasn't especially happy with it, but the discussion is open. The idea is the fleur-de-lis banner. Fleur-de-lis banner is plus 10 melee defense, plus 10 melee attack, 35 meter range. If you compare that to the Braid of Bordello, which is 55 meters, bonus versus large, leadership, and strider, it's a huge difference. Especially because Alberic has the mobility to get around on his Royal Pegasus. And it's often going to be on cav fights where buffs are stronger. Yeah, so they gave their reasoning for why they can't just buff this. Also, this, you have to be in melee. I don't know why that's a thing. This is not a very good ability. But I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see. I'm just really hoping this patch. I'm just really hoping this patch at least addresses it. Oh, I see Warriors of Chaos. I think Martin might be Warriors of Chaos. Anyways, I don't want the stream to be all negativity. People don't watch Warhammer for a bunch of negativity. So I will lay off a little bit. I do think people do want to hear the news of what I've been trying to do behind the scenes. But in the end, if you're upset with the game, you're probably not like super into watching streams 24/7, right? We're here to have fun with grudge throwers. So if he's actually playing Warriors of Chaos, this should be a sick build. Artillery maxing today? Oh, you'll see. Oh, this will be great. Okay, yeah, so he is Warriors of Chaos. This should be hilarious. Should be absolutely hilarious. I really do wonder what he's gonna bring in to potentially beat this build. Because it's pretty, I would say, it's pretty brutal. I could see this being relatively difficult to get on top of. I could be sitting with a coloring book chatting on stream and you'd still watch. You know, honestly, that's always very hype. It's not everyone's cup of tea, though. Although I do really appreciate the sentiment. Another news, by the way, relating to that, I think I might actually not finish Silksong on stream, even though a lot of people might want to watch that. It pains me a lot, but I have a few reasons why I really want to continue playing it offline. It's also just less work for me. It'll give me more energy to edit. So it's not 100% confirmed for all the people who are enjoying that. We probably won't be doing a lot of Silksong, much as it pains me. I know for most of you it doesn't matter though, but I want the communication to be clear. When it is confirmed, I'll do a Discord message on the stream update section. And then, yeah. Let's play on Changer's Madhouse. Oh, that's a hilarious map. Let's play Madhouse. This should be a pretty funny map to play on. I feel like he will have a difficult time. He should have a difficult time pushing into me. We will see though. He's gonna warrior spam. I wonder what build he's gonna run actually. Anyone know if Longbeards are good anymore? In the Dwarven matchup? Or Dwarven matchups in general? Never really know how I feel about Longbeards, but you know what? Let's just try this. I'm really interested to see how it does. Also, full transparency. If my channel pops off on like... What was it? Is it Dawn of War 4 that's coming out? Yeah, 2026. If the channel pops off with Dawn of War, I'm probably gonna focus a lot on that. It's not news that people like to hear, but I'll let you guys know early. Based off of how the situation's going. Not that I'm not doing great in Warhammer, it's just like... It's a little frustrating. If it doesn't do well though, I will be sticking with Warhammer. Until I find something that does better. Mini update. But enough doom and talk. Ready, good luck, have fun. So this is what I like to call the Disgusto build. Extra 10% range and damage. Extra 30% accuracy and reload skill. Giant Slayer surround. If he doesn't have a strong enough rush, he's a dead man. We have overlapping lines of fire, just like you see in real militaries. It's a giant map. This is great. I have the Arawar Goblobber coming in with a -16 discouraged. If he's really worried that I'm gonna gyro bomber spam him, well, he'd be right, but not spamming. I do have one gyro bomber for chariots. And the idea is I'm gonna park here for 5 minutes, let him slowly get ground to dust, and then I'll go here. It's like a kite build without the retreating. Think about it that way, right? So like kite builds retreat to get value. This build just sits back and relaxes in the backfield. It's hilarious. Now he has an exalted hero on a chariot. Azazel with hysterical frenzy. Always fun to see fancy spells when you're up against dwarves. We will see how the hysterical frenzy does though. Based off his army, I think Grimdelvers with Iron Drakes behind them is probably the way to go. He doesn't have Pavane, right? Yeah, the guy doesn't have no pavane. I do really like the Grim Delvers. I think a gyro bomber is the way to go, though. It's a way to just get a little bit extra oomph on the battlefield. Holy range on the cannons, though. Look at that. So we can start harassing those guys over yonder, which is gonna push up just a smidge to buy ourselves a little bit of space. And this is the dwarf specialty. Just taking it nice and slow.
We have a victory point.
No pavane is an absolute blessing. I think he misplayed by doing that. He certainly has a lot of infantry. I could use blasting charges, but he also has a lot of ways to shut down blasting charges. So I think we're just gonna go with the vanilla. Take a few miners over here. And this point I have well secured, actually. As far as I'm concerned, we control the space, so I can play super duper defensive now. And I should be relatively okay. I do see Azazel chasing down my, my gyro bomber. But like I said, if we're controlling the space, I'm happy. It's gonna be a long march for him, that's for sure. In fact, I'm gonna pull back. I want his march to be as long and arduous as humanly possible. Gonna get some Grim Delvers in here. Use some sick ambush tactics. Alright. I just have to be able to re-secure this point once we get to the late game. He's gonna try and burn ammunition with the bombers. To see him dancing with the Zazel here, right? What if I shoot you in the face at point blank, though? Okay, he's gonna get an attack on my gyro bomber. In the end, I guess that's not the end of the world for the gyro bomber, though. I'm gonna turn on fire at will for when he retreats. That was a bit of a lackluster. Bit of a lackluster engagement there. Oh, got a little bit of poke. Ah, but he saw the Grim Delvers. Honestly, pretty good Azazel play. We're gonna be able to retrieve some of that damage back, though. Just by chasing him down. There he goes, turn. I think those are, I don't know what's actually shooting there. Oh, it's the, it's my rock lava, I see. Well, honestly, all fine with me. He actually summons a hell cannon. Which means it's not exactly like he has the strongest rush in the world. So we're just gonna back up from the hell cannon and get our normal cannons on it. That should do pretty well. Gonna hopefully shoot these dogs to death. Didn't get the kill on them. We'll be able to get another volley on the Zazel, though. You know he doesn't like that. The rock lobbers are doing reasonably well, too. And we have troll hammers here. How wondrous. Remember, we outrange his hell cannon by quite a bit. And we know he can't capture this point because I have too much artillery here, right? In theory, the damage he takes from the artillery is just a little too high. He's clearly doing a stall strat, though. But at least the double cap fares pretty well for us. Yeah, no capture point for you, good sir. The gyro bomber lets us get a little bit done while he does a stall strat. So that'll do fairly nice for us. Just gonna run away from Azazel here. Don't know if we'll actually be able to get a shot on him. A little bit of alley would definitely be great. He's gonna lose the dogs. That's 1,000 gold right there. You don't want to lose the dogs. Looks like they're gonna be getting punished pretty hard though. Pot shot on Azazel. And yeah, his cannons are super far back now. So honestly, a little painful for him. I can probably secure that point while we're here. Get another bomb drop. We're bringing land battle. Bringing land battle to domination. And then he shouldn't be able to capture this point. His Hell Cannon's miles away too. I just have to be real active with my D summons. And I should probably fight pretty hard for this point when the actual engagement gets started. Because what I foresee here... Okay, there he goes. So he's finally advancing. So we gotta, yeah, we gotta get the Malachi back here. But the big thing is I have to actually hold on to this point. I can't just give it to him for free, because he'll absolutely win by tickets. Good play on him though, taking out my gyro bomber with his hell cannon, his miles away hell cannon. We're just gonna grudge throw these boys. A little bit of lag. Hopefully we didn't disconnect. After all that posturing, a disconnect would be pretty sketchy. But what I'm thinking here, right? If I can just park the giant slayers on this point and stop him from capturing, he can't really go into my back line. Because I have he can't really go into my back line because he has to steal the point. So that's the idea here. That's the idea we got going on. So here come the chariots. Oh boy. My gyro bomber micro leaves a lot to be desired. Not gonna lie about that. We do have some blasting charges here at least. At the ready. So that's a pretty good route. On the flank side. He still hasn't captured the point either. And his Forsaken are, yeah, just a little bit behind. Should be able to get the Grim Delvers in here too. Manticore shouldn't be a big issue. And as long as we hold this point, I'm totally happy. The timing of his attack was also a little on the slower end too, right? Timing felt like it, yeah, it's a little disjointed. It's naturally going to be harder when you are playing against the Dawi. Rushing is just a difficult thing to get done. Manticore is getting pretty beat up. Yeah, I think the timing was actually really disjointed here. And a lot of his units are not amazing at rushing either. So Manticore is just straight dead. Cannons are doing pretty good on the flank side. Okay, Manticore got deleted off the face of the planet. You love to see it. And as expected, the middle point is being held by Giant Slayers. So I kind of put him in a position where he either had to take a good fight, or he had to try and secure this point. There was no real other option. And it seemed like it worked out pretty well for us. As long as he doesn't steal this one, I'm happy. And with the small remaining payload on the gyro bombers, we can just blow up a few Forsaken and then just desummon them. Just to really ensure that he doesn't get this point. It's a little overkill to bully the Forsaken this much. But I really want them off the battlefield. Dwarves take an absolute millennia to kill off here. So you can see that's it's actually really giving him some issues, man. Yeah, the giant slayers on the point are actually super sick. I kind of like that. And then of course we're playing on our half of the map, which is very nice. All we gotta do now is get some hefty D summons. Reposition our army as needed. And then hunker down on the points for the next 50 years. These points shall not be taken by the enemy. Grudge swords can pop off. We just gotta work on them D summons. Never give up. Never surrender. Don't give up the point. What is this? The cannon piece? Oh, I want the cannon piece back. Yeah, give me that. Now, tickets start getting really high here, which is a little awkward. Honestly, if he set up his build to be better for just full build up, it would have been quite scary, but in the end, it didn't seem like he was too ready for just a full build up. Gotta have so much money here. I'm actually just gonna... Yeah, I'm just spending money on whatever I can get onto the battlefield, man. Also, these guys are doing pretty good. The vigor bonus is actually helping us out quite a bit. There we go with the gyro bombers back on the field. Another really sucky thing for the Warriors of Chaos here. They can't summon units either. So we're both kind of in an awkward situation where neither of us are really summoning in units. Holy, I routed the Knights of the Brazen Throne with the flame cannon resummon. Oh my god, that's hilarious. And yeah, I think the big thing was contesting this middle point with artillery and then getting the route there. We went on a single cap now. So we're pretty good. Yeah, that was that was the game. Welcome to land battle. Oh man. Yeah, I think if you go that build and you just go for, and Martin's a good player too, if you just go for a build that can survive a build up, I guess you're fine. I don't know. He had so much infantry and so much anti-air, right? That they didn't really do that much. I don't even know if I need the gyro bomber, but I think they're worth it for D summons. He's also saying it's a pretty bad matchup for Warriors of Chaos. Can't wait for the Dawn of War era of Anticity. Honestly, the game looks sick. We'll have to see. So Grudge Throwers didn't get that much value, but they paid for themselves in terms of space held. Giant Slayers are a good call. They actually got their value back in spades. And it's kind of the normal infantry that are a little bit more lackluster. Makes me almost want to just take more Slayers. Because oftentimes the thing that's worrying is not the infantry, it's the mobility. Any elite infantry is just going to get deleted anyways, right? Look at this poor Chaos Warrior. So maybe I do the same thing, but just like a stupid amount more Slayers. That could be pretty sick, actually. And then you resummon them, and then you're set for life. The flame cannon is hilarious. One flame cannon in conjunction with something to get them to rush is really good. I think that's where it's at. It's weird that they skipped right to Dawn of War 4 from Dawn of War 2. Yeah, I heard Dawn of War 3 did not have the best life ever. I'm honestly not very confident in that either. The rule of thumb is most games do not do well when they release. It's very rare. Unless it's like Hades 2 and Hollow Knight Silksong. But other than that, the vast majority of games will flop. So, after many years of trying out different stuff, I've learned that you should never put your eggs in a basket that has not been woven yet. Indeed. But yeah, I really like the flame cannons. I think flame cannons in conjunction with cannons is what I want. The grudge swords are funny because they give a leadership debuff. Wait. Wait just a darn second. Okay, wait, no, this is what you do. You combine the goblobber with the flame cannon. -8. That's -24 leadership, minus another 8 from hit by artillery. Wait, so that means... Wait just a darn second. Also, okay, nice. Most of the games are finished now. Wait, so that means if I go to Troll Country... Are you ready to behold the filthiest of Dwarven tech? Flame Cannon plus Goblobber against like a unit of trolls. So look at this poor armored chaos troll, right? They only have 40 leadership. Hit by artillery is 8. Flame Cannon is 8. Goblobber is -16. So that's -32 leadership just by witnessing the artillery. And then I get 1 cannon to force him forward. Now they do have a lord in range, so the leadership's a little higher, but let's just see the dread leadership bomb. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, that's crazy. Oh, damage by artillery is -10. Oh my god. That's pretty chonky. That's actually pretty chonky. So whatever I focus fire with this, it's just gone. This is still coming back. And that will slow down the big push super awkwardly, man. You don't want that. You don't want that at all, man. That just sucks. Now, the biggest thing is actually defending this stuff, but assuming you do that, you're fine. Yeah, it all stacks. It all stacks. If it's a different name, it stacks. Losing currently, you don't say. Yo, that's so sick. I just need something that can force them to actually walk into this combo, which is why you need the cannon. But I think after this, literally, I think the best thing you can do is to spam a stupendous number of slayers, a stupendous number of probably Doomseekers in Brotherhood of Grimnir. And then the cruelest thing you can possibly do, park the Iron Drakes not on the point. So you park the Slayers on the point, which obviously they don't want to fight, because fighting Slayers while getting taken to Pound Town is pretty bad. But you're gonna control 2 points. You're gonna have your artillery firing away at them. So they have to kill your artillery first, and then double back and kill the Slayers before you win the game. Theoretically impossible. So we can do something like this, right? So you have the Malachi, you have the Dragonback Slayers, bunch of Giant Slayers, bunch of Doomseekers, Troll Hammers to be hella annoying. I didn't find the Miners super useful other than just stalling. I do think summoning some Miners on some maps, though, would be a really funny way to force them to summon defenders to defend the back points and possibly stall their push. So I think the Slayers are fine. Troll Hammers are notoriously impossible to shut down. So that means we obviously want them. And then I do kind of like the 1 Gyro Bomber to give me something to resummon. Because people are kind of using stall strategies against dwarves quite a bit. But yeah, just a little bit to control space so they can't have their way entirely. And it makes sure that they have some sort of anti-air, which will make their push a little bit weaker. What you gotta do versus Furies? I think I just park my Slayers on the artillery, and we watch the Furies die. They still have to capture points, right? So it's still the same issue. They have to somehow rush this and kill them. And if Slayers are right on top, they in theory shouldn't be able to kill them. I wouldn't want to bring the Gyro Bomber versus Furies, though. That would be a little unfortunate. What a great build, Laughs and Skaven Slaves. Dude, the Skaven Slaves will route instantly to this. The Wombo combo. Damage by artillery discouraged and burnt. Wait, so artillery hit is -10. That's 26, that's 30, that's 34. Yeah, so it's -34 leadership debuff. -44 if you count the damage taken. It's talking roughly -44. I think Malachi wins all artillery duels with just one cannon too, right? If I'm wrong on that, we're in a tough situation. But probably with Goblobber support, you can win artillery fights. Goblobbers with accuracy are quite nice there. Why do dwarves in both flavors suffer so badly against Skaven? Let me tell you why. Skaven have Jezzails, which are super hard to shut down. Stealth so they don't get hit by artillery. And they can pick off all your poor dwarven guys because they got shield breaker. Dwarves are not really a heavy chaff faction. And you want to rush Skaven. Skaven suck versus rush, man. Everyone loves rushing Skaven. Factions that suck at rushing, though, are dwarves and chaos dwarves. They don't really have great cavalry. Which is also what you kind of want to counter Doomflayers. I know chaos dwarves do have cavalry, but like I said, not great cavalry. So all armor and elite stuff just die. If you look at the chaos dwarf roster, their playstyle really heavily rely on trains and fireglaves. Both of them died to Jezzails. And that's kind of the main problem. And then Skaven also have this special tech. Death Runners have absurd bonus versus infantry. They're fast, they can stealth. They're like the perfect anti-dwarf infantry. Crazy physical resist, not a lot of HP. But the HP doesn't really matter against dwarves like it does other factions. So these guys, they have the DPS to punch through a dwarf front line that a lot of other factions don't have access to. So if you look at the Empire equivalent, Great Swords are no match. Technically, they'll do better than Vixtrins, but they'll get shot to death. Death Runners, though, the biggest thing to kill them is ranged, and with concealment bombs, they're perfect for that. And then that's basically it. Any faction that barely outranges another faction will typically be better off. So like, why are Wood Elves so much better than Dark Elves? It's because they slightly outrange Dark Elves. Your Dark Shards will never get in range, and they're not overspending for the extra range. Why can Empire be really good versus Wood Elves? It's because Empire slightly outranges Wood Elves. Way Watchers can't face off against Hellstorm rocket batteries, right? And then it kind of loops back on itself when people start rushing. So why does Bretonia do well against Wood Elves? Because they have sick cavalry rushes. They'll just run down all your elves. So they don't care that you'll outrange them. They'll just brutalize you. You know, it does pretty well against Bretonia, though, dwarves. Can't get rushed by Bretonia. And they can sit back and relax on the cannons. A little bit less so in that situation, but that's kind of the rule of thumb. Norska does really well into Khorne because skirmishers. Also, by the way, we're playing a Khorne best of 9. In great news, people, We're playing a best of 9. So the way that we did it against Bilbo, we banned factions until there were 9 factions left. He said he's not like a generalist, so he doesn't want to play a normal best of 9. But I think it would be really fun for me to play 9 different factions. So he banned half, I banned the other half. And then we're going to pit our 9 factions against him. And see if Khorne is actually bad or if they have some teeth. So I'm going to be playing Greenskins, Wood Elves, Dwarves, High Elves, Vampire Counts, Coast, Betonia, Skaven, and Beastmen. There's some worse matchups in there. There's some better matchups. I think it would be a fun time indeed. It's a ranged-based rock, paper, shotgun. Yeah. What happened to getting Demons of Chaos to number 1? I had them at number 2 over the weekend. But someone got a few more wins. Someone got a few more wins with some other factions. Right now they're number 3. They're like 2 wins off from number 1 though. They're ludicrously close. They're at the upper end of 55%. Norska and Vampire Counts are at the lower end of 56%. So if I can just ensure that they lose a couple games this tournament, we get there. Alternatively, what my actual plan is, Turn's gonna host a tournament, and off stream I'm gonna play Demons of Chaos. We get the win. I take a screenshot, and then we party it up every day. I'm doing my part and losing as Vampire Counts. Hell yeah. Gotta get that Vampire Counts win rate below 56. I need someone to play Norska too, if at all possible. Your sacrifice will be remembered, Miss Do Booty. Also, yeah, Greenskins tomorrow too. I want to play some Greenskins tomorrow. Much excitement. Now, is the next round up yet or what? It's still not up. Just messaging the people to finish their match. It's taking a little long. Also, yeah, we need Slanesh to not win too. Alright, nice. It just finished. Wondrous. Alright. At Goblins. Round 2. I mean, oops. Round 3. I forgot to report round 2. That's my bad. Whoopsies. Parapoto. Hit him up with the yo-yo. Do a little bit of this action. Let him know that I'm dwarves. And who are we facing tonight? It seems like Parapoto is playing Zinch. Nice. Should I just use same build? I feel like same build strats are kind of funny. I can use that modified build. Ooh, Norskin Rise is here? Dang. Ban Carcass. Either Haunted Vale or Norskin Rise, both are great for the Dawi shenanigans. How do dwarves deal with chaff spam? Minor blasting charges are a classic. If it's like a million chaff units, just take less ranged, honestly. Dwarf warriors are also surprisingly hardy. I would not be afraid to take a bunch of dwarf warriors. And just playing in a tighter formation. Like, just take less range and go in a tighter formation. Slayers are also pretty sick. They don't uptrade into chaff super hard. They need some support. But yeah, I think that's my general advice. I think I'm gonna do the same thing again. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna sit back, relax, and let the artillery do the talking. We'll see if he brings a lot of Furies, yeah. That'll be really interesting. A lot of Dwarf players have problems with Furies. I would personally say, when's the best of 9 happening? On Friday, during normal tournament times. It's an air raid siren? No. Just an ambulance. Or a fire truck. But yeah, I think the core thing about playing Dwarves correctly, you gotta get... You gotta... Oh, I just noticed this little blue box is a little out of position, ain't it? Like the blue. Hey, what do you guys like better? You like the blue or the black background more? I'll do a YouTube poll. But yeah, if you position your Slayers on your artillery or close enough to them, then you're probably fine. Slayer positioning is super important. What do you guys like better? What background suits you? So where is Oh, okay, I see. Dang, it's like a 50-50 split. What am I supposed to do with this information? Y'all's gonna make it as hard as possible for me? How dare you? Also nice. Only a handful of units. That's good. Perfectly balanced as all things should be. Alright, I see how it is. You know what? I'll just overlay them on top of each other. That's the only real solution. Ready, good luck, have fun. So very likely he's not going to want to push into this at the very beginning. This is kind of terrifying to walk into and to rush because you don't have many units. I will secure the points with the Slayers and then we can handle the game just as we did previously. I have a whack load of summons and I can also summon in Miners and the Brotherhood of Grimnir to maybe steal this point against my opponent. We're gonna try and go for like a capture weight. We're gonna try and go for a capture weight victory here. So he's already in range. He has Final Transmutation, 3, 6, 7 units. So 2 units are indeed stealth. You can see how annoying those goblobbers are, right? You know, let's shoot up his lord a little bit. Chromatic aberrations, we're gonna go ahead and bully. I'm gonna secure the points. It looks like he's just going for the rush though. Mad Lad wants to tussle. He's ready to take a great sacrifice.
We have a victory point. Keep it from the foe.
To push onto my position. But we've already captured 1 point. If he Final Transmutations this, I don't think I care. We'll see though, we'll see. He's gonna Final Transmutation Malachi. I'm just gonna pull him away from the artillery pieces so he doesn't do too much damage. It was kind of just a normal cast Final Transmutation though. So I'm not particularly worried. And my artillery's kind of doing massive blood damage. My artillery's kind of doing a lot of damage here. We already have one Marauder making a run for it. Do I want full hammers? Probably not, right? Yeah, I don't think we go for them. I think we just sit back, relax. Let the flame cannons push them into an awkward position. I just noticed too, those are chosen. Something to consider. You may be a bit surprised by the general lack of Furies. But if he brought Furies, he wouldn't have these guys chilling. You can see having Slayers nearby, ready to save this position. Generally working out well for us. Malachi is severely overextended. That's an oops-a-doopsies, my bad type of situation. But yeah, with all these Slayers here, I feel like we should be okay. I just have to cap the points. Yeah, YOLOing with Malachi is not the smartest decision I've ever made in my life. We will route off that Chosen of Tzeentch though, with the artillery. Turns out artillery is pretty good for that, actually. Let's just ignore the Zongors too. Keep running. Actually, no, I'll fight the Marauders. They're just Marauders, mate. Ain't nobody cares about Marauders. Cannon can shoot here. Will there be less friendly fire? And I only need a couple pod shots here for him to run into a rough time. Because as we discovered, the leadership hurting. The leadership breaks we can get with the artillery pieces is insane. Little spin to win. That's going to delete the rest of the infantry here. And I think just playing on the defensive has given us a little bit too much of an advantage now. A little bit of a rout there is exactly what you want to see on the Zongors. They are pretty bad at actually sticking around. And I have time. Look at the tickets. He actually only just caught up on tickets. Not exactly a great position for him. Crumbling's activated because of the artillery. And with a little bit of smart retargeting too, they can just turn and fire. So look at these Zongors. Massive leadership debuff from these double things. They have 36 leadership, so we know that a flame cannon shot plus a Goblobber shot routes them off. Let all low leadership units cower in fear to my artillery. Although, with the charge leadership boost, it looks like they actually held. Dang, look at that. It's actually rather impressive. Looks like I've made a mild misplay. We do still have this position. But I'm probably going to lose my Lord now. A little unfortunate. With the number of Slayers on this point, though, I think we're still fine. Zongors versus my boys here. Looks like it's going okay. I can actually start... Yeah, I can start minor tiding his flank point. Dwarves are really magic resisty. They'll be fine. And the great thing about Slayers is that if your opponent brings too many of them, they run into a mild issue. Or if you bring a lot of Slayers, they run into an issue where their mobility don't really have good targets. And these Centaurs, yeah, they're kind of just having a rough time. Now, I'm probably gonna de-summon my artillery now. They're not really needed anymore, and I'd much rather just kill everything else. Thankfully for me, de-summoning is a very easy maneuver indeed. I do expect them to have some Furies though. And I am out of Slayers. Very important to note. But I do have 2 capture points. Honestly, a little bit of a scrap. It's a little bit of a scrap. I don't have a lot of units I can summon on in here. Of course, he has almost nothing that can deal with the Slayer Tide. But this is not exactly a super comfy position for me. We will get Malachi back just so that the miners can calm down a little bit. And I think a Troll Hammer is nice. I almost wish I had more Slayers though. It's crazy, but like, man, Slayers, that's where it's at. Slayers for life. It's gonna charge into my Giant Slayers with Centigores. Now the DPS actually on those guys is pretty scary. You gotta be a little wary. And of course he has some pinks here. I think we can actually dodge his shots at max range. Oh my god, we can. They don't have a lot of ammunition either, so if I just kind of dance back and forth here. Ah, yes. This is what you get when you are fast for a dwarf. You get a lot of Tzeentch suffering. That's what you get. Look at that. They're having the time of their lives, man. Just a little dance party over here. I love it. Man, dude, Tzeentch blues and pigs suck, man. Bro, the damage is so bad here. What is this? Oh, come on, bro. Come on. You gotta... It's not even like there's a lot you can do. I'm just... Oh, my God. Bro, their volleys are doing like 100 damage. And they're at like close range, too. This is straight suffering right now. They're just gonna run out of ammo. For people who thought that pinks and blues were the solution to Slayers, the answer is no. Absolutely not. Does a spin to win kill his character here? Does it do a lot of damage to characters? Looks like it did an okay amount, but nothing too crazy. Alright, sweet suffering has been achieved. It's gonna hurt him pretty bad. I've gone chevrons on my Giant Slayers. How marvelous, and they are now out of ammunition. Yeah, the Dwarven BM. The poor forces of Tzeentch. Troll Hammers are having a great time here. I am noticing that he has a pretty severe lack of Furies, though. In the end, I really don't think the Furies will do that well versus the Slayers anyways, but it does make me wonder, right? Especially if you can get like 3 Furies together, they could get a lot of damage in very quickly. If we are not careful. But yeah, here's the problem now. The Slayers are going to be getting into the melee. And Dwarves are pretty decent at holding points. He did actually capture this one though. I must say, my opponent is actually making this a little bit more sketchy than I thought he could. We're gonna need yet more Slayers. Here comes the Furies, but this is where good positioning will pay dividends. See how they charge my my Troll Hammers here, right? If I pull the Troll Hammers slightly back, they will be able to let the Slayers here tank. At least they should. I must say the Zongors are a little annoying too. We're gonna have to work on holding this point. I don't think we actually won this just yet. I'm only really being saved by the slight amounts of capture weight I have. But yeah, this is a far from over type situation. Got a solid capture on the flank. Slayers were a little beat up too, so they actually didn't do very well here. But the Giant Slayers should be fine. And if the Troll Hammers rally, this is still a really bad position for him. Come on, you darn Troll Hammers. Oh, he gets a final transportation. Pretty brutal. Opponent's making it spicy. The early rush might have done it. Of course, this full HP Giant Slayer, though, is going to be an issue. I could get another Troll Hammer or even an artillery piece. But I think we'll reactively summon. Based off of, yeah. Based of whatever my opponent is going for. Oh, that's a bombardment. Back up from that. You don't want to tussle in there. It will be a bit of a pain. Gonna have to do the dance again. The dance of the Giant Slayers. The dance of my people. They are unshielded, so it doesn't go nearly as well for them. There's a capture, though, at least. Okay, yeah, you know what? It's a Slayer mash. Give me Slayers or give me death. We're just gonna spam them out until we're in a good position. He's shooting at over here, so we're actually still doing fine. Gonna save ourselves against Furies. We're gonna get our Doom Seekers on the Zongors. As long as I can hold 2 points, I'm relatively happy. And a second Giant Slayer to secure the middle. Seems like it'd be a good idea. Here comes another Fury, though. Honestly, I feel like, yeah, if he spammed Furies, you probably would have won here, right? That initial rush actually did quite a bit. And maybe that's a counter to this build, instead of going for a more passive style. You just hard rush it. All I gotta do, though, is hold 2 points and I'm happy. However. And when those Furies dive in, I'm gonna use my Whirling Death to beat them up, so... You better watch out. Pinks are also almost out of ammunition, as they are not exactly the best unit in the world. So I don't even need to hold this point. I might as well just recapture this. No way he holds there. Hello, Whirling Death. Unfortunately, I think I caught mostly Zongors there, but... The Slayer Tide is a real thing. Get in there, boys. Get our Giant Slayers to the flank. And the middle is looking relatively secured. He can't summon more Furies now, otherwise we win by points. Grimnir, yeah. And the Troll Hammers rallied. Love it when that happens. Okay, he's gonna get some Chaos Warriors. I'm just gonna summon more Slayers. More Slayers! More Giant Slayers! Dude, their capture weight too make them so hard to deal with. 7 capture weight on a 40 speed infantry unit. Get in there, boys! Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. I basically just up-traded at the start. Yeah, I up-traded at the start, and then I spammed Slayers to secure the points until we won. The Centaurs were never going to do super well. Not against this many Slayers. And the Troll Hammers ended up buying time, which is pretty jokes. I can even just ignore these guys and let these guys hold this point so I can secure the middle. That seems like a pretty fun play. Minor spam over here on the horizon. More Furies have arrived, but we don't care in the slightest. Back to triple capping. Dang, dude, I never thought Giant Slayers would be meta, by the way. I always thought they were kind of bad, but when... I think it was the capture weight buff that really saved them. Because before, they would just get outweighted, but now as like a point securing unit, they kind of get the job done. Opponent taps out. That's gonna be our next Dawi win of the day. 3-0. These are definitely easier than my Demons of Chaos games, that's for sure. One great thing about these builds too is that you're skill checking your opponent. I do think like Charix would definitely still win. But yeah, you're basically skill checking your opponent. You're making it difficult for them to make the right decision. And also they have to fear the air builds too. Just kind of screws him over. I think he would have lost to an air build unless the screamers were clutch, but man, yeah. I guess he brought screamers for the air build and that made everything else just kind of janky because the only thing he could summon were 2 Furies. It's the fear that gets you the victories. When you play dwarves, what you should do is you should roll a die. On a 1 or a 2, you go for artillery. On a 3 or 4, you go for a bunch of infantry. And then on a 5 or 6, you go full air max. And then that way, your opponent only has a 1 in 3 chance of countering you. And if they go for a safe build, it might not be strong enough. The Dwarven Roulette. Dude, this one Chosen getting 300 value. Sad. Sad times for the Chosen. Slayers were great. Miners were kind of eh. The Troll Hammers were kind of eh, too. I think if I had to optimize this build, I think one Troll Hammer is where it's at. I want as many of, yeah, as many melee units as I can field. Either that, or when they rush you, you just go for like a Rogue Thunder Barge. But it's too risky. It's too risky. If they go for the rush, there's no way. Unless... No, it's too risky. The Thunder Barge doesn't do well enough alone. There's no way. There's no way a Rogue Thunder Barge would do it. But yeah, I think 1 Troll Hammer and 1 Gyro Bomber is enough. You don't really need to do more. You force them to rush you, you take a good fight, and then you play the point game from there. Yeah, Thunder Barge is kind of sus. 4 more matches. Here we go. Troll Hammer, Torpedoes. Yeah, there were barely any large units to shoot. It's true. Definitely having 3 Doomseekers was great, though. I find that you're typically dealing with a lot of infantry. Is there any way to make this build better? Sorry for the ambulance. The other option is to skip the miners and go for, like, Slayer Pirates instead. Slayer Pirates have their place, but not against infantry. They don't do super well there. Cutting the Flame Cannon. The Flame Cannon is essential to make sure that they can't ignore your artillery pounding. So if you don't have a Flame Cannon, they can maybe just capture the middle point. It also typically pays for itself. It's pretty hard to shut down. Long Drongs. Do they have good stats? Oh, dang. They actually have pretty good stats. Wait, look at that. Bro, their stats are significantly better than normal Slayer. They're just lacking the anti-large. And they have a debuff, too. Don't they have a... Yeah, they have Dwarven Rum. Bro. Broski. These guys are sick. They have less weapon strength, though, but... You can't tell me those stats aren't amazing. I'll consider Long Drongs. You have 41 melee defense, 48 melee attack. That can make up for the damage pretty well. No anti-large, but they also have precursor pistol shots. Interesting indeed. Similarly priced. Chariots kind of fear them too. I kind of like it. I kind of like that a lot. Anything else we can do? Yeah, Long Drongs OP. They're kind of a self-sufficient range unit too, which I need. Because in the late game, they're going to want to dive my range units a lot. Oh, the other thing that can be super annoying, instead of miners, you go for Thanes. So less capture weight, way harder to kill. But in theory, you can just park a Thane on some points and then you're good. The shots aren't precursor. You know, they're basically the same, right? It's firewall moving. Does anyone feel like runesmiths are worth it? I feel like miners are just better because of how cheap they are. And 5 capture weight. I feel like Thanes and runesmiths don't really foot the bill very well. Malachi's jokes though. Malachi's hilarious. I'm basically taking no range units. And it's just the artillery. Yeah, runesmiths are bad. This looks pretty disgusting though. Severely uptrade and then just spam onto the points. And it's fairly resistant to a stall strat too. You have a lot of slayers at your disposal. You have a lot of capture weight. You have a gyro bomber against people who really aren't respecting the air game. Thanes are like budget Vikings without scab scrap. Give them scab scrap, they'll be meta. That's all I want. Yeah, the runesmith can get like rune of speed, but then he costs 700 gold, man. Do I really want the runesmith with the slow instead of like 2 more miners to steal points? I feel like I'd rather have 2 more miners most of the time. Yeah, Thanes with scab scrap. No archer build will ever survive. Normal Slayer Pirates. Do they have stats? No. So normal Slayer Pirates are less effective in melee than Slayers, but cheaper. Long Drongs get such a crazy stat boost. Yeah, they get a crazy stat boost with 250. Oh my god, look at the difference. It's 100 gold, 150 gold savings worth of chevrons. RORs are how CA makes chevrons worth it. Just have a pre-chevron unit. Yeah, Rune of Speed Dawi. Rune of Speed Dawi is generally not that scary unless you need a really well-timed push and they can kind of slow it down. But they do kind of struggle. Round 4. Round 4 is a go. We're up against Jacker's Skins. Jacker's Skins. Hit him up with the yo-yo. Get him an invite. I'm dwarves. I kind of like this build. I would like to get more artillery pieces at some point. But we'll have to see. I don't think they do nearly as well as the flame cannons. So the melee attack on the Doomseekers doesn't really help them that much as far as I can tell. It can be nice, but your opponent can also just ignore them. And at most, you're just like... You're just doing your best to catch a unit. It's also not really what they need. They already uptrade. Also, he's dwarves. Oh, there's so many dwarves today. Alright. Map ban. Ban, landing. So either on Decrepit Moor or Dried Floodplain. What do you guys think he'll pick? Decrepit Moors, put it flat. Got Floodplain. That's pretty cool. Lots of trees. What are we gonna see? Dawi versus Dawi again. The one thing I don't like about dwarves is how many people play them. A little too popular for my taste. Dwarves would not fight dwarves. Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of instances of that. Unless you count chaos dwarves. Anyone know if Malachi makes a difference in this matchup? Probably not, right? I think you just want more ranged. Oh, the Dawi matchup. Oh. Woe is me. Trollhammers have a lot of range, actually. That makes it a little sus. You have to make greenskins good. Greenskins is tomorrow. Greenskins is 100% what we're doing tomorrow, so keep an eye out. Anyone think I can just infantry rush him? What if I spam Longbeards and Dwarf Warriors? Can I, You guys think we can just infantry rush him? He bans Dried Floodplain. So he wants to play on Decrepit Moor. Okay. It's not the best map for an infantry rush. So maybe we'll pass. But yeah, what if I infantry rush with like a bunch of slayers and then just spam miners? Is this a build? Is this a build that gets me anywhere? It's a dumb build. It's a bit of a silly build. Yeah, I really don't know if this is the way to go against dwarves. The thing is, though, their artillery, if he goes in artillery build, he's kind of screwed, right? In theory, his artillery don't do so well. Should I take hammerers? They were buffed very mildly in a patch. They were, yeah, they were slightly improved. Cower in fear. Anyone know if the runesmith is cheaper than the dwarf lord? How's a naked runesmith more expensive than a dwarf lord? That ain't right, man. That's just there's something wrong with that. All right. Do it for the memes. The melee max Dawi. I could actually see how it potentially has some teeth here. Just going full melee max. The death march. Nothing will ever stop us. Can push him into the tree lines. It'd be pretty jokes. Spending wise, we're doing good, I'd say. I'd say this is all right. And then, what do I need to really cap off this build? What just really screams, yeah, he gonna die? I would say probably this. Alright, let's see how it goes. Will it work? The long drong, you want the slayers? Need the dongs to cap it off? Dude, they're not gonna do anything versus dwarves, are they? I'm interested to see what he fields though. This also is not exactly the best map for this, but you never know. There's a good chance he's woefully unprepared. This is how you play dwarves. You just skew build all the time. Although, I don't think this is exactly like a hard counter to melee maxing. It's pretty spooky, right? What's he gonna have? Just like a bunch of slayers? He can't stop the dwarf tide. And we know he can't recapture points very quickly either, too, so. Thunder Barge counter. I'm definitely just gonna capture all the points if it brings a barge. In theory, he can't capture points quickly. The only thing that worries me slightly is if, like, he brings in a bunch of slayers after mine are dead and then steals back the points. How well can his slayers do versus my infantry, though, right? Definitely, they can't do anything. I do have, like, maybe something that can deal with a Thunder Barge, but, like, you would be insane to bring a barge. If he brings a Thunder Barge, he's memeing harder than me and he deserves a win. What, renewing Prime doesn't make a sound? I didn't even get a notification that you renewed Prime. Maybe you didn't process? Did you click the right set of buttons? Rip. Bring anything that can hit air? Nah, we'll be fine. I have 2 axe throwers. That's the only range I have. They will help with the melee push. You just made it, no notification. What the crap? Yeah, I see you got your Prime thing beside you. Well, thank you. If you gave the Prime sub, it doesn't show on any of my things, but if you did, appreciate it. From Italy, thank you. Mr. Keen. Thank you very much for at least the attempt. You've done much more for the channel than many others. Now, many of you may look at this build and say, how does this possibly do anything? How does this build get the job done? You just have a stupendous amount of range units. To that I say, there's a good chance my opponent brings a bunch of miners. And all these guys will do well into miners, okay? Voska, thank you very much. Welcome to the crew. Oh, he brought cannons? Bro's dead. Bro is 1 million times dead. So all I gotta do now is spam some Doom Seekers and just A-move onto those cannons. Capture the point on the way there. And just go to town. This is a never stop moving forwards type of build. This is the staunch line of dwarves build. Oh, he has dwarf warriors. He doesn't even have axes. Oh, that's gonna be rough. They're not even great weapons. He has a couple miners. That's not gonna do anything. Bro's gonna get cooked, man. He has Malachi. Yeah, he does not have the melee chops for that. Look at that. Who cares about cannons, man?
Keep it from the foe.
The cannons, they tickle. So we're gonna get some normal Doom Seekers in here first. Gonna hard push his dwarf warriors. And then we're just gonna get right in there. Welcome to the slowest push in the history of man. This is a hands-off type of push. There's very little re-maneuvering. His cannons are overkilling super hard, by the way. And the great thing about the Longbeards, they have encourage. So my entire dwarf line has bonus leadership. They don't really care that much about getting hit by a couple artillery pieces. Now we will need more Slayers soon enough. We can bully his dwarf warriors here using our axe throwers. That'll be pretty fun. It's pretty jokes that he has double runesmith too, as I really don't think there's a whole lot they can do. And if the blasting charges do damage to Longbeards, everything I know is a lie. So assuming that's not happening, I should be fine. Glorious axe thrower volley. And then we're just gonna sneak our way through. Right through his lines. And away we go. He's trying to body block. His cannons are doing the best that they possibly can. But there are really just no targets for him. None whatsoever. A little bit of a flank shot on the Rangers is painful. We'll use them to chase off his units over there. The Warriors are in, though. He didn't even get a blasting charge shot. Get some Grim Delvers in. All right. Look at that sick dwarf flank. The slowest flank you have ever seen in your entire life. Now, I don't actually have to be worrying about the artillery pieces. They are actually a non-issue. More or less, if I just kill off everything else on the ground first, we'll be totally fine. So that's going to be the goal while I slow push the artillery pieces. Axe throwers will do great there. Got another sick dwarf flank. Dwarf flanks for days. And then I just hard Slayer push them. While also spamming miners. To deal with everything else. There go his dwarf warriors. They served well. But it shall not be enough. His cannons are doing the best they can, but I'd be worried if I was him. I got more miners. Bring in the miners. Oh, that's a pretty good cannon shots up. He has some iron drakes over there. We're just gonna rush down the Grim Delvers. We'll see how that goes. It might not go super well, but a unit of Slayer should at least be okay in that situation. Here we go, finally starting to capture this point. A little bit slow on the point, but it'll be really hard for him to retake anything, right? I think as soon as this is secured, I'll be relatively in the clear. Slayers are unbreakable, so as long as they make it to that infantry, they're fine. And it appears he's going for the flank point, so we're gonna stall him up there. Very nice. Here comes that miner core. And now the slowest push in the history of man is complete. I don't know how this felt slower than Nurgle, but it felt slower than Nurgle. What's he gonna do though? He's never gonna actually kill all this, right? I hope you guys realize. He can't actually bring in enough DPS to finish this off. I don't care how many Doomslayers he has. It is simply an impossibility. Malachi watching in horror as his cannon slowly gets shut down. Get the giant Slayers onto the battlefield. More Slayers. Charge the cannons, men. Your long march is almost over. Ignore the blasting charges. Get in there. These guys have been on the march for 5 minutes. 6 minutes even. But they finally made it. After many years. I love the runesmiths. See, this is what I'm talking about, man. Runesmiths are garbage. This is so garbage, man. They're a unit that you think can get you infinite value because of campaign. But look at them. They're just walking around. They're doing nothing. Watching as the world falls apart around them. Oh, man. The push is so slow. This push is so slow, man. I have never had such low APM in a game of Warhammer. I'm not gonna lie. Just gotta assign the right clicks. The cannon crews have fallen though. Why would you get 2 of them? Because you want to get both runes on cooldown if one, because they're separate cooldowns. It's not like magic. So if you think one is good, it makes sense that you would take 2. The problem is that 1 is bad, so you should take 0. But that's life for you. Oh, those are just dwarf warriors. That guy's kill them. Scolder Guard, though, are in here. They don't actually have a leadership debuff. Interesting. But yeah, to actually recapture points, he needs melee units. I doubt the Scolder Guard can stop the endless tide of Slayers that is about to barrel down in on him. We are now on the Malachi. And while the ranged units do an okay job, they're never gonna be good at pushing, right? Even if these guys did kill enough to try and get on the point, I would just swarm them with units, right? You see this? That retreat means no point capture for you. I'm just gonna hard ignore his dwarf warriors here. Push in with the giant Slayers. You ain't getting away this time. Slayers are fast. 25 speed versus 40. This is like Slanesh. Alright. It's like a very janky Slanesh. They even don't have clothes. The power of no clothing strikes again. Malachi is slowly getting burned down. And then another one. It's important to summon your Slayers off cooldown so that they can get to the point as fast as possible. It'll take a while. Dude, Longbeards are holding, man. Dude, look at these Longbeards. They're just chilling. Love Longbeards. Longbeards are the ultimate I don't give a crap unit. They just sit there and tank forever. They start with a base 38 melee defense. They're chilling. The enemy lord has been gloriously killed. And as he finally gets on the point at the 2,250 mark, he's gonna get swarmed by an endless tide of miners. Supported by maybe even some Longbeards for leadership. Brotherhood of Grimnir. They only got so much killing power. Oh boy, here we go. Sick rune that got so little damage. Did that pay for himself? Dude, it was a blob. He still hasn't paid for himself. I'm telling you guys, stop taking runesmiths. If you are a dwarf player and you run runesmiths, you gotta put your build to the mirror. And you gotta stop. I really don't respect them. They just never seem to cook. I really don't know. This was a rush build, so maybe he wanted to like blast some rangers with them. But you could just get rangers, right? I feel like if he just had rangers, it'd be better. Shielded dwarves is good versus gun dwarves. So if I did go for the Thunderer play, it would have been sus. And look at those poor cannons. Even buffed by Malachi, they didn't pay for themselves. The issue is that cannons don't clear infantry. I personally would not take more than one unless you're facing cavalry. Grimdelvers did pay for themselves. So you had a couple of units that did pretty well, but so sketchy, man. You just can't do that. How'd these guys do? Only okay. Longbeards, though. Look at this one. They cooked. I think they're the ones that jumped the artillery pieces. This is a legitimately good build, by the way, in a dwarf mirror. Because they need a really refined build to counter it. Just make sure that you mix it up and you should be fine. GG, well played. I think his micro was fine. His micro is actually quite good. But, build-wise, it's the build. Always the build. 4 wins! Let's go! Wrathmonger's at home build. We have scores to settle. They watch the double runesmith slow games on turn stream. Yo, it's hilarious. I lost my lord to a double runesmith slow build and I still won. I still won 2,000 like 300 gold down. My opponent did misplay though, admittedly, but it's kind of sad. He got the juice. He got the juice. It should have been an insta loss. Your build lacks dongs though. It does. It does. Just couldn't really find a good use for him. All right. So right now, the people in the top 3, there's me, there's Jacker skins. The way Total Tavern works, we should not match into each other, thank goodness. We have Parapoto, who only has 2 wins, so likely they won't make it. There's enough signups where I think if you get 3 wins, that's what you need. I would say there's a high likelihood that Martin makes it, as they're a rather strong player. They only lost to me, so if Martin wins their next match, they're fine. Otherwise, it's Blake. And then my other runners, I would say, is either Pontum's Claw, Big H, or Miss New Booty. Someone told me how to pronounce Pontum's Claw properly, but I totally forgot. Oh no, they only have 1 Swiss point. Dang. All right, so that means it is going to be like Melkor or Or gamer guy? Is it gonna be dwarf mirrors for the rest of the world? Okay, no. Melkor needs to beat gamer guy. Martin, Michael, okay. Oh, Foge 2, alright. Versus Michael. Never heard of Foge 2. But, maybe they'll be clutch. We'll see. You got scammed. You thought I was gonna play 4 artillery. Not my enemy. 4 artillery is kind of sus. If your opponent sees it coming, it's definitely sus. That's why I feel much safer going the 3 artillery Malachi build. Is there any chance this build does well into like a normal build though? Like what if I run this versus Zinch? Would it do anything? Probably not, right? Do they still have charge defense? So Longbeards have charge defense against large, even the great weapon variants. Why play 4 when you could play 5? I'll take one of each, right? So 1 grudge thrower, a bolt thrower, a cannon, an organ gun, and a flame cannon. Hammers with Thorgrim. Yeah, I haven't run hammers in so long. That stat line's kind of sus. They technically have the same stat line as... Yeah, they have the same melee defense as Longbeard great weapons. So imagine paying 450 more gold for a Longbeard great weapon. Is that what I'm reading? So 450 more gold is more than 50% the price. And they lack ITP and Encourage. For some stats, more speed, a little bit more HP. That's a huge markup though. That's massive. And these guys aren't even meta. But they're the coolest. I know they're the coolest. You don't gotta tell me that. You once bought 4 bolt throwers versus 4 grudge throwers. You lost the points. Yeah, you can't really do that. If you want to actually army wipe your opponent, you need high DPS stuff. So we're talking like the Goblobber and like the Flame Cannon. Without high DPS, you will be screwed. Mega screwed. Hammers are really worth it. Yeah, totes. I'm sure they don't just get run around the entire map forever. The titles of the stream is these Dawi builds are evil, right? So I gotta actually bring evil stuff. Does this guy have anything cool? Oh dang, you can take a Master Engineer for 550. That's reasonably cheap. You can take him as like a pseudo Malachi with the Artillery Master. Does he have anything that's worth using though? So you can Flash Bomb, making him a better Runesmith immediately. Who needs the Rune of Slowness when you can just Flash Bomb? He has Fiery Ring. You can increase accuracy, I guess. Accuracy is not a very important stat. Yeah, I can just go double ring. We have Scab-Scrath at home. So this does 36 damage in a line. If you look at Scab-Scrath, right? Now, I know it takes 3 seconds to cast. We're going to ignore that temporarily. But technically, Scab-Scrath is also 36 damage. So that means dwarves have access to a very janky Scab-Scrath. It's also 100 meter range. In theory, it's supposed to be good, but no one's taking archers versus dwarves. Can you get ogre units as mercs in multiplayer? Sadly not. Multiplayer thins down a lot. Probably because it would be too hard to balance if they added more units. Some factions would get a lot of strengths overnight if you gave them extended roster. I personally think it's a fun thing to deep dive into, but Considering CA's probably a little overworked right now, I don't think it's a thing we'll see. Yeah, ultra forbidden tech. You can flash bomb them first, and then you can cast it so they can't dodge. There's something to be said about this guy's poking power. So master engineers are really good at just sitting there and poking damage. So maybe there's like a master engineer thing. But like they're so slow, 32 speed. They're just sitting there poking very mild amounts of damage, right? Would it not be better to just have a quarreler? Grudge Settler gyros. Oh my gosh, Trollhammer gyros. Yeah, that would be pretty gross. It would be a lot more to balance for sure. Oh nice. The round is complete. 5 players have made it. At Melkor, at Martin, you guys are tie breakers. Melkor is top bracket. Spec slot, please. At Jacker Skins, at Michael, stand by. All right, a lot of familiar names. None of them are exceptionally spooky, but this should be good. We're gonna go ahead and spectate a match. Always very fun to spectate matches, as you get a different viewpoint of the meta outside of your usual playstyle. So let's see. Flash Bomb is good. Flash Bomb's pretty good. It's just it's kind of hard to capitalize on, because most abilities you want to be spamming off cooldown. Like Flash Bomb on a horse character would be amazing on a cavalry faction, but Flash Bomb on a slow faction like Dwarves, how many times are you casting it in the game? You're putting 150 gold in the bank to just sit there and do nothing, so that when the engagement eventually happens, then you have a Flash Bomb. I think it's a waste of money. Total War Middle Earth. Oh my gosh, that would be quite something. I just want them to have a good game launch. Warhammer 3 is definitely not ending like Warhammer 2. The end of Warhammer 2 was a pretty polished product. It was nice, man. I don't know if I trust the devs here, though. If they fix the range jank and the flying jank, though, and a few of the bugs, like the gate bug, all that stuff. If they gotta polish the jank, just that's all I want, man. I would be happy if the DLC got delayed, but they're like, you know what? All the janky stuff is gone. Because that's what I interact with on like a regular basis. I think it's what most players interact with. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like campaign folks, they probably don't notice it though. But once you get enough experience to start seeing it on the reg, oh boy. Yeah, CA don't really have great launches, even on the big products. I would expect 40k to still sell well. And they'll still probably get a lot of views, but the jank will be rough. We'll see. I do kind of want to make a new video series where I kind of do interesting speedruns and challenges, where it's kind of like more generic content where anyone can kind of show up and watch. We're gonna try and lean into like the brilliant stupidity type of video. We're not gonna do like the same thing as him. But you know, a little bit less memey and all that. But I think that would be fun. And then I can do like, you know, some Warhammer challenges, some Dawn of War challenges, maybe like some Hollow Knight challenges. That's kind of where I want to take my channel. But right now I've been a little busy, a little tired, so I haven't done the deep dive yet. Yeah, CA launches, man. It's been like that for a while. The corruption surely runs very deep. Extraordinarily deep. But this is how I like to cope with stuff. When you finally accept that the situation is how it is and you can't change it, that's how you move on with your life. You know, this is the stuff that you learn in your life, you know. At some point, we got to stop shaking our fists at the sky and we move on. As it stands, though, it seems like the sky might be talking back. We'll see. We'll see. I really hope. Fingers crossed, man. I've been feeding them the stuff that would make me very happy. We'll see. Yeah, AAA titles tend to be quite janky. That's why I like indie games. Hades 2 and Hollow Knight Silksong. Oh my god. Oh my god. Hades 2 is so fun. I want to try a Hades 2 run. I want to try Hades, some Hades 2 challenge runs. I've been grinding that game like no one's business. Let me take a look. How many hours do I have, bro? Yeah, I have 263 hours in Hades 2. A lot of it was played in the beta, but still very fun. Isn't it ironic that AAA games tend to be more janky than indie games? I think it makes a lot of sense if you think about it with other situations. Like the government. Raise your hand if you feel like your government has a lot of bureaucracy and is janky, but it kind of needs that to work. Compared to like a mom and pop pizzeria. A mom and pop pizzeria, all right, if there's an issue, they can fix it the next day. Governments, all right, you got to deal with like checks and balances. You got to deal with internal corruption. Large projects with more money are going to be more difficult because the project is large. Throwing money at the problem does not solve it. The money just funds it, you know. I think a lot of people get that wrong because they feel like, oh yeah, it's the company, right? It's a big company. They should be able to handle it. No, that's not how the world works, man. Yeah. It's the same reason why I can manage a chat with a couple hundred people. But like a big streamer, you know, it just gets harder to manage the more people there are. Which is why I really don't like the whole like indie company meme, by the way. Cause like it really doesn't make sense. But you know, memes are fun for being memes. Let's not judge it too much. Also, yeah, AAA are, you know, just the way the economics of it work. Indie companies will, at least some of them, right? Like the Hollow Knight devs, they had more money than they knew what to do with, right? So they could just take it easy. But like if you're a AAA company and you don't have a system that will get you money or doesn't look good, you just get shut down. Look at, what's it? What was that RTS that got shut down? Not Stormgate. Battle Aces. They didn't get the formula. Game was getting there. It was pretty great. Felt pretty fun. But I don't know. Company, yeah, it got shut down. You're beholden to other people. Spooky. Spooky indeed. If there's one thing that I've learned from my nearly 3 decades of existence, the world is complicated. And you should not trust people that try to summarize it in a single sentence. The world is stupid complicated. It's impossible to know anything. If something's obvious, probably wrong. It's like, there's so many layers, man. You can pick the most black and white issue. I swear, it just, yeah. Won't go into them, because this is not the time and place to talk about extremely intense issues. But for anything, I don't care what you believe in, you probably are not considering both sides on any topic to its full extent. Unless you studied in school specifically for like one thing. Like, you know, the people that are like, yeah, I'm a specialist of this subspecies of platypus. I'll believe them about what they say on that platypus, but nothing else, okay? All right? Other than that, all right, we all know nothing. Except for me in Warhammer. No, I don't even know what I'm talking about with Warhammer balance. I get it wrong so often. But anyways, Mantide. We got Forsaken. We got Marauders, some Warriors. Are they all Warriors? No, a couple Marauders. I love how Martin is taking Pavane now. Not just a Hysterical Frenzy. We're going to keep an eye on it. So Hysterical Frenzy, we can do the math. It costs about 40% of the cost of a Marauder. So for the entire battle, if he doesn't make use of this, he was always down almost half a Marauder worth of money for the entire battle. Will it pay for itself? Or is it Garbo? We'll see. Pavane's a nice tech piece against stuff like wagons. Been seeing a lot of Empire players going for the light wizard tech. Knight of Amtok is good. Shems is pretty fun. Now he's pretty expensive on his flying mount. Love the exorcism, by the way. Leadership and ITP when casting. If he just had net, I wouldn't like the passive. But because he's probably going to be spamming Shems as much as possible, I could see it helping out with the leadership. And maybe we'll see a double net. Are you a specialist of war wagons? Probably not. I haven't played Empire enough. I really want to play them more, but so many factions to play. As someone who once studied ecology at a graduate level, I can say yes. Stuff is usually way more complicated than you think it is. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. And that's with every topic. With every topic, and it overlaps. Oh god. But yeah, this looking pretty good. Capture point number 1. Good job, Marcus. So far, it's just a little bit of advancing. Both sides are doing nothing crazy. Okay, alright. Naked Exalted Hero on foot. Now that's a spicy meatball. I wonder what his goal is. I guess he's not expensive. It's going to be fairly sturdy capture weight. If he lives into the late game, I could see him being really annoying. Because he's just a constant capture weight threat. Could do well against the Sunmaker too. Late game Sunmaker summons, by the way, or mid game Sunmakers, are really nice because the opponent starts in range of it. So if he wanted to, he could just blast a Forsaken right now. He forgot the horse. Did he say that on like a Discord call or something, or did he actually forget the horse / chariot? Hey, he gives leadership, okay? But the Sunmaker has fired. Oh, the poor Forsaken. They're holding up their arms in front of their faces as if it will do anything. Sunmaker hits. Pretty brutal. Not a lot of damage though. Doing the turn zoomies. Love casting. Empire have put their stakes down and said, this is our territory. I'm getting spam calls. Accidentally picked up. I swiped the wrong direction and now the spam callers are like, he picks up Call him more. Dang it, man. Anyways. Empire have hunkered down. They got null and iron sides, but they're getting a little bullied by the Hell Cannon. Doesn't need to chill here. Great thing about controlling points. For anyone who wants some intermediate plays, capture points should be a representation of your control over the map. If you have your range units parked over here, yes, you have the point, but that's excessive. They should be parked here and you use the ranged firepower to control the point. You will still hold the point even if you're not sitting your butt on it. It's about map control. So you don't need to leave infantry there if you have more speed than your opponent. You will also control the point. Also, nice gems on the Hell Cannon. Will it hit though? I think the hill got him. Rip hill tech. But yeah, capture point should be a sign of your control of space. So you see how this Hell Cannon is, or not the Hell Cannon, the Sunmaker is controlling this space. Even if the Spearmen are off the point, Chaos doesn't steal the point back because the Sunmaker is controlling the space. It's a really nice intermediate tech to prevent yourself from overextending. But for most people, it's not going to be very useful. What's more important is the fact that we got Pavane on the Light Wizard. He gave himself Hysterical Frenzy too. Look at that. I think, yeah, that was a normal cast Hysterical Frenzy. Now, let me tell you right now how bad Hysterical Frenzy did. Let's say it increases Azazel's damage by ×2. And it fully impacted the situation. He got maybe 200 more damage on the Wizard. But he also had to Pavane for it. So he spent 22 Winds of Magic to get the Light Wizard to half HP. It's not really that worth, right? You'd think Hysterical Frenzy would make him dumpster the Light Wizard. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's not, that's even being pretty optimistic, right? But let's say it doubled his damage, and for whatever reason his charge bonus wasn't helping him land hits, which it very likely was. Hysterical Frenzy got him between 100 and 200 gold. Now, 100 to 200 for 8 Winds of Magic is not the worst, but also it's still very situational, right? You can also get that value by like whipping a Spearman Shield or something. So I would say so far not worth. He's gonna go for the play again though, so there's another Pavane. He also has the lore passive, by the way. So he really wants to kill this Light Wizard. Gets a solid catch here though, Malcourt. Return punching the Marauders. Is he gonna do it again? The answer is no. He did not cast Hysterical Frenzy again. It's almost like he used so much magic he doesn't have enough to cast Hysterical Frenzy. If you look at the value difference though, you can kind of judge, right? So the value difference says maybe the Hysterical Frenzy got him 170 value. So maybe it was worth. I'm not going to say that Spirit Leeching this guy would have gotten him killed way earlier by now for the same Winds of Magic. We want to be, you know, we want to be an indifferent caster here, right? But I'm not going to lie, it seems kind of garbo when your spells are worse than Spirit Leech. What I would love to see though is, what would be really nice? Hellstrider summon, Hysterical Frenzy, plus a Rampage on the Demi Knights. Now that's where he might get a lot of value. I think if the situation crops up, he could totally get the kill here. These are some pretty overextended Demi Knights. Space is being taken by the Warriors of Chaos at the expense of eating the Sunmaker. But he used the Zap Brannigan style of School of Thought. Hey, they still have rockets, what the crap. Either way, Zap Brannigan, School of Thought. If you send wave after wave of men, they will eventually hit their kill limit and be forced to desummon. Turns out the kill limit is 104. And it's working out all right. Now, the Sunmaker barely paid for itself, but the desummon will get you 50% of its value back. So Melkor is doing pretty good. Gets basically a free Reiksguard for that D-summon. He's very happy. Azazel getting netted too, with the net of Amentok. Light Wizard getting sweet revenge against Azazel for the little bit of bullying he did earlier. And we're seeing a really, yeah. Regardless of how you feel about the spells for Azazel, it seems like overall the magic has not been really going so well for the Warriors of Chaos. And that's making their value plays slightly less than optimal here, right? Even Rampages the grenade launchers, but doesn't kill a lot of entities, so they'll still be able to bully. We haven't seen a lot of huge plays from Azazel. Now, the capture point is still good. If you look at the tickets, it's very close. Empire barely lose on a 1-cap. So maybe Chaos can hold. It's a little brutal though. There was Null and Ironsides getting a very slight cost reduction a couple patches ago, making them ever so mighty. They delete units that get too close, and it's really nice to see them actually in the meta. I'm very happy about it. I know Null and Ironsides is something I brought up to CA. That's actually something that we saw implemented. I think he would have been happy to have like some sort of spell to delete these guys. Technically their HP is low enough where maybe you can like Yuna or Melkoth them, but they're rather tanky, kind of hard to get rid of. Azazel's pretty low too, by the way, so he can't participate in battle. I would say this is fairly even still though. Like Empire still have to make a play. They still gotta capture a point, and they have to hold it for like a minute. After that, they can go back to their defensive position and they're happy. But it ain't exactly a simple situation. This Hell Cannon's been having the time of its life. It's gonna pay for itself and desummon for a whack load of cash in a rough second. It's been shooting Null and Ironsides, it's been shooting Great Swords, and we would expect a very big Warriors of Chaos swing as soon as that Hell Cannon gets desummoned. Empire might also be forced to resummon the Sunmaker. Look at how few units they have in reserve. The only thing they can bring in, yeah, is the Sunmaker or one other unit. So we're really looking at a situation where both players are very tempted to desummon units and try and get some trading done while controlling points. And when it comes to the matchup, Warriors of Chaos are much more efficient at doing that. Empire just have a bunch of spears, right? So Zap Brannigan may very well be correct here. Grenade launches shooting at the Hellstriders. Oh, look at that hysterical frenzy. Massive hysterical frenzy. Nets them a fairly decent charge on the Outrider grenade launchers. It wore off though. Huge! Huge hysterical frenzy. You love to see it. You love to see it. Best spell in the game. All the people that are like, yeah, but in this situation, no, it never happens. Every time I look at buff spells, man, I'm never impressed. Except for Flesh of Stone. That one actually did surprise me quite a bit. Flesh of Stone is hype. I love it. Although it's not a super meta spell, it actually does see play in some cav engagements. But yeah, I think he also just misplayed though. That was hysterical. Maybe we will see Azazel do something with his magic this game. Poor Azazel, man. I will say Empire's been doing a pretty good job shutting down the plays, but it's a little sus. Now, in terms of strong plays, though, I do think Martinus is actually doing really well here. As a caster, I probably shouldn't just be dunking on the players all the time. But Martin has actually done a play that I am really unfamiliar with, which is the Zap Brannigan strat. I really thought he was going to downtrade severely, but he's stalled long enough where it's kind of sus. It's kind of sus for the Empire, right? Oh wait, no. On a double cap, Chaos is sitting really comfortable. My bad. Mismathed it. But yeah, he stalled the trading so much that like you're gonna summon all your units anyways. If the Empire doesn't have a way to trade into you, you just sit back, relax, and you're like, yeah, I might be down trading, but guess what? We both have all of our units on the battlefield. I don't care that you are up maybe 1,000 gold worth of value. When you have to get on this point, I'm gonna hold it because I have infinite infantry. And it seems like that's all you really need. It's all you really need for some sick plays. We've seen all the summons for the Empire. There's only a couple units of cavalry. I think it's just a Reichsguard and some Demi-Knights. And you really do need the cavalry to clear points really quickly. Now Reichsguard could potentially hammer these Marauders here. Artillery. Oh my god, Sunmaker getting a massive barrage. But will it be enough? Because in the end, capture weight is gonna be important. And if you look at the capture weight of the Empire, what do they have? They have a grenade launcher, 2 grenade launchers, a Reichsguard, a spear, and a greatsword. Greatsword's a little battered. Hell Cannon's gonna bring down their capture weight. So it's a little sus. I will say the resurgence of the Sunmaker has been glorious. It kind of annihilated these guys, right? It kind of just ripped their faces off. So there's actually almost no capture weight back over here. Sunmaker gets desummoned, gets half of the money he spent on the Sunmaker back. Crazy. Azazel, oh my god, his stagger barely saved him. Getting a little sus. But even a little bit of a few units here will slow down the Empire capture weight. Because look at these spears. They're on the point with the great swords. That's like 8 capture weight. So you need a Forsaken here. I think with the Outriders it's close, but there's -3 from the Exalted Hero. The Foot Hero is helping out. Marcus is here, but the Hellstriders have arrived. He kills Azazel though at the worst time for the Warriors of Chaos. And all he has to do is capture this point before this gets a little over 1,300 tickets. If Chaos can hold for just a few more seconds, they win on a 1 cap. But it looks like Empire is barely gonna squeeze it through. Oh my god. I think Empire win by like 3 seconds. I think Empire win by 3 seconds. That's insane. By a hair's breadth, or breadth, whatever. By a hair. By the skin of his teeth. He barely captures the point in time. Yeah, the Light Wizard, not Bright Wizard. Light Wizard with the steel chair goes into melee against Azazel. Not many wizards can say they've taken out a greater demon. And now Chaos is the one that has to face the foot style. They're the ones with the artillery trying to uptrade so that they can secure this point. But I don't know if they can do it. Sunmaker value obliterated those poor Marauders out of nowhere. It looked like Chaos had like upwards of 15, at least 10 capture weight that was gonna sit and grind for a long time. But the Sunmaker with the steel chair, man. The Wizard with the steel chair. All these guys are low on leadership. And all that's left here is one Exalted Hero. But he's not really doing his job if this point ain't being held. He's here to try and contest the point for just a little bit longer. But unless Chaos get a Sunmaker of their own to clear off these guys, I don't think the DPS is there. This guy does not have DPS. Marauders and Forsaken on the flank are getting routed off, and the home point is being secured. Even a resummon of some Spearman Shields. They will get to this point before these Forsaken become a threat. The Empire are hunkering down. And I think glory for the Empire. They're gonna win. They're gonna win. They capture the point. I think if they were like 1 or 2 seconds off, actually. Looking at the tickets, I think that's the case. Because this is gonna be 100 off when this is 50 off, right? Oh my god. Bro. Yeah, they were 2 seconds off. They were like 2-3 seconds. Holy Holy crap. This game was a very minor misplay. Oh wait, from it swinging to either player's side. Very well played on both sides. In terms of the patience battle, I think both sides didn't make a lot of use of their magic. But the light wizard barely creeped out ahead with some cool nets. In the end, I think the magic could be judged, but the play style was pretty nice. Both were very patient. Very, very patient. Trading gets super even. But looks like Zap Brannigan does not win today. The Empire prevails. And now they have passed the Warriors of Chaos. 4 tickets away. If he moved his Hellstriders to capture the high ground point 4 seconds earlier, he would have won. But that's just not how the game works in the end. Well played to both sides. Melkor moves onwards. Woo, that was spicy. Not a typical play style that I like to go for. I find it way too stressful to play on points. Sunmaker got 4,000 almost. He really didn't have a lot of cavalry. That's what made it sus. But the grenade launchers got some good value in the end. Both spellcasters were kind of lackluster. But there you go. We're gonna have to face one of probably gonna have to face him in the finals, as long as he wins his game. And that's gonna be a win for I believe it was, yes, it was Michael. It was Melkor. Okay, no, it's Melkor, yes. Melkor versus Martin. Melkor. Which Melkor are we talking about? This was, okay, Melkor 4619. Okay, there we go. So I've set up the tournament so that we all have the right players. I'm up against Jacker Skins, which means we are again going for the Dwarf Mirror. Dwarf Mirror is a little volatile, especially because he's seen my build now. Altar of the Champion, Glinty Tooth's Crag, or Bray Valley. Ugh, Bray Valley is a sketchy one. I'll ban Glinty Tooth's Crag, I guess. Oh, this is the 3rd Dwarf Mirror I've had to play. So the 3rd Dwarf Mirror. Let's do it. You want to know how to play as dwarves? You're learning how to play against dwarves. Oh boy. Dawi. Dawi. What are we gonna do? We gotta lean heavily onto one angle and then hope that we make the right plays, I guess. Big Dawi civil war today. How many dwarves made it to the finals? Do we have 3 dwarves here? Michael is playing vampire counts, I think. I think he's playing vampire counts. So these are the last 2 dwarves in the game, in the semifinals. Winner is the better dwarf. And we're playing on Bray Valley. Oh boy. This is a map where you have the high ground advantage at the very beginning. Makes me a little wary, right? So he has the high ground. Oh boy. Oh boy. Is he just gonna artillery max me? Bro, what am I supposed to do? Thorgrim with melee buff and hammers. I don't want to get knocked out, bro. I kind of have a tournament I want to win. I do have a nifty build, though, at least. I think as far as niftiness is concerned, this build is kind of hype. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would say it cooks 10 out of 10. This is a 10 out of 10 cookery build, okay? I foresee 0 possibilities where he can defeat us here. This is most definitely the most meta dwarf build. And no one can tell me otherwise. Do I need more miners? I think the miners are kind of garbage. Unless it's like a late game quarrel where you're just like running units into each other. But they don't really do well versus a lot of targets that dwarves can bring. So maybe we pass on them. We'll take a little bit of this action. We'll ready up. And then hopefully we don't die. Oh boy, you guys are gonna love the build though. It's very different. Thunder Barges. Max Thunder Barge, Dawi Air Force. If he does that, he insta loses, okay? Feast your eyes. Feast your eyes to the unrivaled power of the Belagar DLC. This build, we're playing like beastmen now, okay? Take a look. 4 cannons, nope. No one in chat, I think. Air superiority mixed with stealthy range. It's just stealthy ranged. Alright. You know what I feel like I have over my opponent? Maneuverability. When it comes to the micro and the repositioning, we have that in spades. So what if we ambush him? He's not gonna know where we are. It's a full stealth army. The heck is this? This is the best dwarf build you've ever seen. I can totally play this like an elf, alright? There's no way. Unless he has like a gyrocopter vision build with artillery to spot me. He's pretty screwed. 15 units. 5-5. He has 3 stealth units. There's a bunch of miners here. I'm just gonna bully them off the get-go. Let's see how many units he expects here. Apparently not a lot. That's your big mistake, man. Yeah, no, this is a ranged max build. Are they gonna get a good volley off? What is this range jank? They're moving way too close. All right, we gotta pull back just a smidge. He brought some axe throwers here. All right. He does get a blasting charge volley off, but my guys actually do regen, so I don't have to worry about that too much. And then we're just gonna overload him. Now, there's not a lot in the way of units I can actually bring in. This is all my range. Oh god, okay, never mind. The blasting charge is good versus the miners, or they're good versus my my skirmishers. Pull back. Gonna bully his miners a little bit here. And most of the entities actually live, so as long as they can mag dump here, I think I'm happy. We're gonna pull away from his Scolder Guard. We're just playing it safe. I'm playing a Kite Dwarf build. We're playing a Kite Dwarf. He's gonna actually bring in some Slayers here, which I should be able to just shoot up. We definitely have significantly more range than my opponent. And I definitely want to take advantage of that. Unfortunately, there are actually a lot of trees on this map. Makes life a little awkward for me. But I should be able to use my great weapons here. I just gotta pull back just a smidge. We gotta bully the Scolder Guard. Just a smidge. Let the kitening commence, right? And then I'm going to get some, yeah, some more Doom Seekers in here. We're just shooting them up. It's going okay. I'm not gonna lie, could be slightly better. Scolder Guard are kind of being a menace. Doom Seekers are causing me issues. It could be slightly better, I'm not gonna lie. But I did kill one of his Rangers, which is pretty jokes. He actually summons in Gyro Bombers. It's a bad sign that he's confident enough to do that. We'll see how this pans out. How are they gonna do? What if I just shoot him up? How good are these bombs gonna be against me? Okay, decent dodge versus the bombing one. Definitely gotta keep pulling apart here though. Many of my range units are suffering a grim fate indeed. But the tussling's going okay. I will say, a lot of my range units are kind of sucking. In the end, there's only so much ammunition on this bad boy. And we do have our Doom Seekers in here. They're doing well. The great thing about dwarves is your units will rally, okay? Your units will rally. It'll be okay. I've killed his axe throwers. That's a big plus. Let's pull these guys back. Very good deeps over there. His gyrocopters are on the run. You love to see it. Yeah, my guys are gonna rally so well. It'll be fine. Look at that. They're back already. Scolder Guard are a complete menace, though. I cannot lie. They are being very annoying right now. My opponent does have a double cap. But okay, we've killed off his Doom Seekers at least. Next up are these guys. I think the Gyro Bomber is going to be pretty lackluster for him. If it only gets a couple bomb drops, I'm honestly cooking pretty fine here. Should be able to push back his Rangers too. Just got to pull his Dwarves into an awkward position is all. Very nice over on the flank. Dwarf Lord's doing okay. And there's the spin to win. I think we're starting to pull back. I think the Gyro Bomber really messed him up bad. Gyro Bomber was a great disappointment. The Giant Slayers are really getting in there. I will have the Brotherhood of Grimnir soon. And he also overextended slightly on the left flank. You love to see it. The Brotherhood. The Brotherhood will cook. An ancient dwarf saying. Oh, thank goodness. Okay, there they are. Yeah, then we'll just clean up over here. Look at my Giant Slayers doing great. Lord is caught up. I thought he had some Doom Seekers here. I don't know where they went. Holy crap, that's a lot of gyrocopters. Okay, so I gotta capture some points, right? And we gotta not die to the Gyro Max. That's pretty crazy. Okay, so that's a little bit of a mad lad maneuver, I'm not gonna lie. For a guy who has no capture weight to speak of, this many gyrocopters is kind of ludicrous, but I also kind of love it. We're gonna stay safe behind our lines here. And hopefully that'll be enough. So I have a double cap. We have many a unit here. Hacking away at him. My flank has been secured. And definitely the counter is to spam Slayers. Spam Slayers and just overwhelm him. And say, screw your Gyro Bombers, I'm just gonna triple cap you and you're never taking your points back. As long as you don't run out of units here, we're okay. This little pocket's a little sus. A couple Doom Seekers here is a little sus. But Dwarven resilience, man. They ain't routing for anything. And I have my my Bugman's Rangers, okay? Bugman's will clutch it, trust. Trust in the process. They don't care about a couple gyros. They'll keep regenerating forever. Let's get the triple cap. What a mad lad, though. I can't believe he spammed gyros. What an insane mad lad. He really went for the gyro play. Oh my god. Most of them are going down, too. It's not too pretty for them. Bugmans are insanely resilient. All 3 of my Bugmans are still in the fight. That's pretty solid. Another Slayer has arrived onto the battlefield. Fire away, my dwarven kin! Fire! Let's get some line of sight going. Blend them. Oh hell yeah! We got the blender on his Doom Seekers. That's perfect. So we got the big blender on him. He's getting the blender on me. But I think we still come out on top. Flank point is coming into our play here. It shall be mine. And with no Slayers to speak of, I think my opponent is just gonna lose on the ticket front. He really doesn't have a lot left at this point, and gyrocopters just don't really... They just don't really kill quickly. I think there's a little bit of an issue there. They're just not really getting the murdering done. Like, they're in the skies, they're chilling. They have 500 value, but like... Aside from the gyro bomber, which still had to be summoned very early, they're just kind of... sitting back and chilling. They're just not doing anything, are they? As long as I can just continue to hold points, we're pretty happy. Not to mention he stalled for a really long time to summon all the gyrocopters. Kind of went for a late game summon, which didn't really do well for them either. They were kind of needed a little earlier. I'm going to see if I can drag his Brotherhood of Grimnir through the mud. Just pulling them through my Giant Slayers and getting counter charges to maybe take them out. Enemy Lord is dead. I'm going to use these Bugmans to stall the warriors. Bugmans will do well. I think his early game build was definitely much scarier. And his micro definitely was a little sus. But the late game play was what did him in. Gyrocopter gets routed off. Barely paying for itself. But not getting the points. Rear charge on the Brotherhood of Grimnir. Looking pretty sus. We're just going to keep cycle charging. With enough cycle charging, they will die. Where there's a cycle charge, there's a way. There we go. Get in there, you darn Slayers. I need it because I have to punch through their insane melee defense. It's just really high. There we go. He gets a little bit of a spin, but they're gonna die, so it's fine. Now, do Giant Slayers uptrade versus Doom Seekers? If you look at the stats, it's fairly similar. Giant Slayers have a lot of entities, and if they get mucked up here, it seems like Giant Slayers are kind of clutch, right? Compared to Doom Seekers, they're cheaper, which is very important. And it seems like they actually, it seems like it's actually an even trade. That's kind of crazy. So it's just Giant Slayers for life, I guess. GG, well played. That gets us into the finals. If you like playing dwarves, take some notes. It's about the Slayer positioning and keeping your range units alive. That's the constant theme here. And not overextending. The biggest thing that I'm doing here in all of these games is just not overextending. If you do that, you'll be okay. GG, well played. There are a couple times when my units get caught and I get absolutely punished for it. Seems like the Bugmans were a good idea. They paid for themselves. The Axors were okay. And the Rangers were okay. The big ticket dudes, though, excuse me, Giant Slayers, man. I can't believe it. They're finally meta. But I love overextending. Well, hey, you know, it's okay to do what you enjoy doing, but you're gonna be in the pits. You better start loving the pits now, because you never escape it. Or you just take really strong builds, and then your opponent misplays, in which case feel free to meme it up a little bit. I've overextended with my Lord and gotten them killed in the first 1 minute of the game, and we still won, so surely there's some crazy tech there. Which Dwarf Lord should I play for a new run? In honor of this stream, I would say you should go Belagar and spam Rangers. In honor of that battle, I feel like Belagar is the way to go. Ranger spam is really fun, and it's a cool micro strat. You kind of play it like elves. Or the guy that I haven't used at all, Thorgrim and Hammerer spam. I refuse to use this because it's bad. Dwarves acting like Elgi, that goes in the book. This is a very elvish type of playstyle. When the dwarves go full skirmish. Miss the stream? Aw, rip. Noble Naldor, rip. Yo, we've been crushing it today, man. It's been going good. I don't know if dwarves are OP because I still think I have a like 100% loss rate against strong enough players. But in the right matchup, they definitely pose a big problem. And like Martin is no slouch. But Warriors of Chaos, I think if he didn't have the Hell Cannon, he might have been able to win. But then you have to not take a Hell Cannon versus dwarves. He buffs hammerers. It's true. The Hammerer stream. Dude, I can't bring myself to do it. Belagar's a true Dwarven challenge. Yeah, the OG Dwarves. Before CA started making every campaign stupidly easy. Still hoping they implement that Hades 2 mechanic for difficulty in Warhammer. I thought about it some more and a way to make it spicier. Hades 2 mechanic. But the way that it works is that instead of unlocking, or okay, one thing you could do, you play the campaign, and if you beat the campaign on like, you know, plus 20% damage taken, you unlock some extra boosters for campaigns where you're running these modifiers. So you can have like a modifier where it's like you start with an extra 2,000 gold. Still pretty sandboxy, right? It's just like a different game mode where it's like climbing the ranks of chaos or whatever, right? Some ladder that you're climbing, some progression mechanics. And then like, yeah, it's like, oh yeah, you beat the game, so you unlock like a little bit of like a bonus, but you also unlock higher difficulty tiers. So by winning on higher difficulties, you unlock like, you know, the next rung of the ladder where like, hey, now you can enable a mode where the AI has severe anti-player bias, but it's offset because you also get like an extra 10,000 gold, right? So you can offset it like more positive or more negative for you. I feel like that would be sick. I feel like that would be sick. It would give players something to actually play towards, and it would give us masochists and longtime players something to actually work around. It's a lot of work though, and I don't think CA have the manpower, but I would love to see it. Would domination work with all of the roster unlocked for reinforcements? It would work, but it would be unbalanced. A lot of the units just haven't gotten a good balance pass. I think the biggest outlier, I did do a boss battle stream. I should do that more, by the way. But someone found out that these guys are insane. So Storm Riders of Kassar are 10,000 gold cavalry with 80 armor and 52 melee defense. I don't know about you, but I think Grail Guardians for 900 is kind of OP. And they have 85 speed. They have 85 speed. These are actually not that far off from Grail Guardians. So if you did just enable extended roster, it would kind of be disgusting. These guys have 100% armor piercing, 48 melee attack, and bonus verse infantry. So they are basically exalted bloodletters for 950. They're exalted bloodletters for 33% off. It's gross, man. It's gross. Now, I would love to see these units added, but I think the rebalancing would be a bit too much. Yeah, the Lock Tomb King's units are bonkers. High Elves are pretty good too, yeah. Knights of Tor Gaval are pretty spicy. So 2,600 gold unit. They're basically Royal Hippogriff Knights, but way, way better. Absurdly better. What you basically get are 4 nobles on eagles for 2,600. But their stat line is literally the same as like nobles on eagles. So that's pretty good. Can't go wrong with it. Do make sure to bring healing for them, but they are quite strong. It's fun though. It's fun to have every once in a while. Just be aware it'll be unbalanced. Way better than Bloodletters. Oh yeah, they have like 55% physical resist. They actually have the OG physical resist of ghosts. Imric's dragons are also pretty spicy. There's a lot of cool stuff. The Empire have like a purple Sunmaker. But yeah, it's fun. High Elves Eltharian's units are quite funky. Yeah, he has one archer that has like a 30-second reload time, don't they? Where are they? Is it... I think they have a debuff too, right? Was it the Sentinels? I think it was the Sentinels. They have like a really janky reload time. I don't know. I don't think they're actually that good though. And Spyro Guard are just Lothern Sea Guard. Yeah, it was the Sentinels. So they have Shield Breaker, but they shoot so slow. They do have 215 range though. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, some factions don't have a lot. Norska has just 6 mammoths in one unit. Where are they at? Yeah, the Maw Herd. The Maw Herd is just 5 small mammoths glued together. I'm pretty sure they're OP, but if you look at their stats, it's actually not that crazy. I feel like Norska should get their special monsters though. And just make them kind of like RORs. Make it where you can take a 1 of, right? Or make it where Norska can take a 1 of the special monsters. Iceforge Legion's kind of OP. It's just 4 Hell Cannons duct taped together. You can really tell the old RORs, man. They really like just duct taping units together and calling it a day. But, yeah, I feel like the extended roster has a lot of potential. Once again, it's one of those things that CA just doesn't have the capacity to do. So we wait. 5 mammoths in a clown car. The little itty bitty mammoths. They don't have as good stats. But anti-infantry and impact damage is still anti-infantry and impact damage. The damage is crazy. Hand of Glory. Yeah, Hand of Glory. To make those archers shoot faster. That's pretty funny. What about an unlimited funds tournament? So we already kind of had that. For those of you that were here back in the day, Warhammer 3 launch, when they gave us domination, I believe that the rate that they gave tickets was really high. I think it was like 30 or something. Tickets was insane. So you would always summon all your units, and it was all about holding points rather than efficiency trading. Which means basically it was a mass ticket situation, and I think the meta there would spill over here. If you have infinite tickets, I think ogres will dumpster again. I think Nurgle will dumpster again. Now maybe a lot of you guys would welcome an ogre Nurgle meta with vampire counts. But yeah. Tickets were crazy back in the day. And then the rubber banding mechanic too, that was also an instance where too many tickets screw the game over. Oh yeah, they had both, right? Yeah. I think you could get 30 tickets and then come back and get you to like 45 or something insane. What a crazy time that was. But yeah, factions that could just sit on the point for millennia. That was where it was at. For the record, pre-nerf lead belchers could not shoot the endless tide of Nurgle. In a world where plague bearers, I think they cost 800. You literally just lost. Ogres were bad into Nurgle, because your lead belchers would run out of ammo. Now, I can appreciate some spicy dishes every once in a while, okay? I can appreciate the craziness, but I think most people can agree it probably wasn't the best game mode in the world for a lot of people. I think a lot of people did not have fun being like, I shot him for 10 minutes straight and it just didn't end. So I'm kind of happy that we moved on. Yeah, not more supplies if you were behind on tickets, not if you were losing. Your army could be bigger and they would give you more supplies. Hey, I'm dwarves. Vampire counts have advanced. This is our first vampire counts player that we're facing today. Vampire counts are not a good matchup for dwarves at all. Not very, very good. So creeping swamp, rift at world's edge, cave, dan swamp. All right. Oh boy. So dwarves versus the counts. How do we do this? How do we do this? Vampire counts are so good at stalling you into infinity. I got a little fear in me. Just a smidge. I don't think they're insurmountable though. We just have to be a little careful. Thorgrim hammer. You kind of have to shoot the counts to death. What does Thorgrim even have? Oath of Vengeance, 44 seconds minus 24 melee defense. Not the worst ability. That's a long debuff, but dwarves are not really known for their melee attack. High King, 50 meter plus 8 melee attack if he is in melee. The Book of Grudges, another melee attack boost. Okay, so you could go combat dwarves, but like the Graveguard are gonna cook you regardless, man. The Graveguard are gonna cook you. I don't. Today's the day where I'm trying to teach people how to play dwarves. So let's see if we can actually go for a little bit of a more meta build. And then go from there. As much as I want to meme it up and try out something crazy, I think what dwarf players really need to learn is how to play dwarves properly. Quad grudge rakers. If this guy's good with his chariot micro, we're screwed. Flamethrowers, nah. You need some units that are very hard to shut down. He's gonna get the zombies on us for sure. He's gonna have Graveguard and the like. I'm a little sussed out, but I have a plan. I think this is a bad matchup for dwarves, but we'll see, we'll see. Iron Drake Barbecue. That's like what every Vampire Accounts player has to do to graduate into the tournament scene. Everybody, and I do mean everybody, and their mother loves going for Iron Drake Barbecue. You know what the counter is? Just take 5 units of infantry. It's that simple. 1 unit of infantry will make it to an Iron Drake before they kill that unit. So if you take 5 units of infantry, 5 Iron Drakes will all get occupied before they kill them all. This is why most Dwarf players say that they have a hard time against Furies, because they just don't have enough defenses for their ranged. Ain't nobody gonna live with like 5,000 gold dumped into their range units, okay? No other faction in the game can pull that off, let alone a faction with no cavalry. So let's just calm down on the ranged, get some Slayer action most likely, and then hopefully the Graveguard don't massively uptrade into Giant Slayers. Now I do have a solution for the Graveguard. I'm actually copying my standard build here. Air spam is bad. Vampire Counts Fell Bats are really annoying there. No, I'm going for the same build that I built at the very start of the day. It's a Malachi triple artillery to get him to advance. And then 1,000,000 Slayers. I think we can use this and the rather high DPS of the artillery. So a lot of people go for cannons, but cannons don't have the DPS versus infantry. But a flame cannon, I think we can. Some rune magic, that's like the lowest DPS in the game. I think literally a unit of Skaven slaves will do more damage per second than someone spamming rune magic off cooldown, man. It is not very impressive. You know what else might not be impressive? This build. So we're gonna play defensively. Kind of just over here. We got the Malachi, we got the Slayers. The Slayers are gonna hard push for the capture points. I'm just gonna park here. We're gonna control the space. Yeah, I'm gonna control the space over here and just pummel any units that get too close. Ready, good luck, have fun. The goal is to kill the Graveguard. And we gotta make sure the artillery lives here. Now he's bought some Banshees. Thankfully these guys have magic attacks, so that's not a big issue. This is why gyrocopters are risky, Von Karstein Lord. And he has a bunch of Fell Bats and some Vargeist. So he was really worried about a little standard Dwarven build that takes a lot of range, right? So already, by having the threat of various builds against him, we're doing good. Now this is going to be a game of defending the darn artillery pieces like no one's business. They must live. If they die, this game is absolutely over. Do I want to capture that point? I don't even think it's worth it. I want to focus on uptrading. We'll have some Brotherhood of Grimnir here. They'll do great. Alright. So we're just going to hammer the zombies as much as we can. Gonna get the cannons and bully some Fell Bats. That'll be pretty funny. And then I'm just going to park right on top of my artillery. Ain't got no issue there. Malachi's buffing up the flame cannon. You can see that leadership debuff doing pretty good. Flame cannons are away. His doggos are taking some heat. I think we're doing all right so far. Yeah, let's just bully some zombies. I keep getting calls. What are you gonna do with the Banshees? I don't think they do super well here. The funny thing is that these guys will, they will crumble undead. Basically immediately. Holy crap. They... Okay, we shattered the zombies because he actually took too much of a leadership hit. Now that's funny. But the battle is not over just yet. Cannons are doing great versus bats, at least. These guys don't do magic damage. So you gotta be a little careful, but they'll kill the dogs just fine. This little zombie summit is not a big threat. Dwarven artillery are quite hardy. He's gonna lose a dog unit. You can tell he's very ill prepared for a build like this, right? You gotta go a little unconventional when you play dwarves. Go too conventional and they're just gonna hard counter you. So far though, we are crumbling those zombies like no one's business. And it's getting those slayers in position to make sure that they don't charge their artillery. So this was actually a bit too slow. He got on top of my my artillery and we paid the price for it. I'm still doing totally fine though. These poor little zombies don't stand a chance. And now the Brotherhood of Grimnir are stuck on the Banshees. The Banshees do not like being here. Whirling Death. Spin to win. That should bully them quite hard. We will need a little bit more oomph here, I'm feeling. Obviously, killing some zombies is nice, but it's not exactly a huge value play. By any means. Could get a gyro bomber now, but he already has gyro bomber tech. So let's not punish him for making that mistake. He's used a lot of magic to summon zombies. And honestly, I think just Doomseekers are fine. I think if we just keep spamming Doomseekers, we'll be okay. And I'll just keep up trading. Look at them zombies, they aren't having a great time. You can see the space that we're controlling, right? We're punishing them for holding on to this point. And we can use 2 Slayers to maybe steal a point. Odds are unlikely, but you never know. Maybe they'll clutch it out. He's doing some good dodges, though. If I keep retargeting, it'll be rough. Skeleton Warriors do not like getting hit by the leadership debuff. Wombo combo. Just saving up for a few more guys. Let's get the long drongs in there. Wow, they really don't like that. Leadership minus 55. They might even fast crumble here. At the current pace. Oh, they fast crumbled. Holy crap. Dude, the leadership debuff is so sick. Leadership debuff goes so hard. Oh my god. Not a chance, man. It's so rare to fast crumble undead because you need to get to minus like 60 leadership. But we got there. We're gonna hit up another zombie, get him out of there. Giant Slayers don't really care about anything. They'll do great. Crypt Ghouls have arrived. Okay. I have my artillery here at the ready, though. Fall bats can't beat the drongs. Or the dongs, as my chat lovingly calls them. So let's actually just dismount, and that should be good enough. Malachi's doing great. Giant Slayers are doing okay. If we can kill the Vargeist, I'm relatively happy. And I should just be able to reman this artillery. We're just trying to get him to down trade as much as possible. He's kind of getting on this point, though. I don't like that. And of course, he does still have the Grave Guard that he's been keeping safe. So if the Grave Guard continued to chill, I'm not gonna lie, it could be a little bit more on the sus side. I don't think we're out of the woods just yet. I think we're doing okay. But I really have to kill the Grave Guard. I think the Grave Guard are a huge potential for us dying here. There's a lot of Grave Guard on the flank point too. So I think we're just gonna spam the middle point with miners. And hopefully just hunker down and secure the point. Can't have much magic left at least. And we are gonna be able to de-summon this thing. Slayers will do well here. His Karen rates are kind of bullied. But we're far from over. I have to actually start securing points, right? So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna desummon. We're gonna keep the artillery piece to try and get some leadership hits on the Stearnsmen. But now we want to start abandoning our little artillery pieces. We want to get on the point. He's probably gonna barely hold this, but that's okay. What is this? Skeleton warriors. That's fine. The minor tide is arriving. And I can use some troll hammers here to slow him down a little bit. Not an optimal situation, but my first capture point by the 1,000 ticket mark is okay. There's a lot of slayers in here. That's a great little whirling death we got going. Banshees are kind of suffering too. And most of his stuff is over here. It's not like they can really help out, right? We can also bring in the Malachi. He'll do great for this particular situation. And with the first capture point secured, now we're playing the long con. So I need to worry about points. First and foremost, that is the most important thing. His Banshees here are not going to be a major issue, but I have to make sure that he doesn't eventually secure this point with a little bit of shenanigans. So having at least a Slayer there will be fine. Taking over this point will be good. But what I really want to do is I want to force his units to have to take the long path to secure points. Because the more, now that I've actually secured points, I can kind of begin the bullying, right? Because realistically, what is he going to do, right? He has to try and shut down the flame cannons. But he doesn't really have a whole lot to do such a thing. Yeah, because he has to re-secure a point. He simply has to. Oh my god. Come on. Too zoomed out. So Flame Cannon is just going to roll on in. It's going to bully him. And if he gets Furies or something on it, it should be able to wreck shop. I have enough on this point to do well. Against the doggos, the Slayers will just kill him. And the Horrors died to some Slayers. That's kind of the Dwarven way, right? You uptrade. You uptrade and then... You uptrade and then you capture a bunch of points. He actually doesn't have a lot there. I'm going to use a Gyro Bomber here to secure this instead. Then we'll give him the Blender. It's going to send some Furies over here, but hopefully we get the Long Drongs in here fast enough to save the cannon. If we don't, it's not the end of the world. I also have the option to desummon. But primarily, if we can kill off the Furies, that'd be best. Yeah, his Horrors are having a rough day. And his dog play over here ends up not really getting a lot of value. Dogs actually tank the bombs fairly well, though. That's surprising. Oh, it's the normal Gyro Bomber. That's why. Alright, here we go. I'm just gonna disengage with these guys. Summon in the Long Drongs, and then I should be okay. He's doing the big hunker down on the final point. But what we have here is time. Time to sit back, relax, and do okay. I have like 5 minutes here. It's a decent amount of time. It's nothing too crazy though. There's a lot of undead, that's for sure. We don't like that. He's still summoning to the flank too. I really don't like that. Yeah, if he secures his flank, it's half sus. Troll Hammer is gonna have to shoot at the Mortis engine. I think I have enough infantry here to steal the point if I have to, but like I said, a little sus. Gyro Bombers are doing the best. So the Fury should die and at least be disrupted. He's kind of securing the point though against the miners. This is a problem with dwarves. Eee, that's really bad. Yeah, I wasn't able to get enough to pull over here, right? Dang, okay, that's actually really bad. So we overwhelmed my defenses here. And now we have a little bit of a problem. Now we have just a smidge of a problem. So now I'm forced to try and pile in on this point to get it secured, lest he sneak a victory from tickets. It's a smart play, but at least my slayers are getting a lot of damage. We might still be able to pull through. I probably should have desummoned these giant slayers, now that I think about it. I think that was my big misplay. Had I desummoned them, we actually might have been able to pull through. But because no desummon, now I have nothing to bring on in. The disengage! Alright, can we force our way in though? Graveguard can only capture away so much. If we get all the boys in, we may still have a chance. Mortis Engine doesn't do a lot of damage here. So we're kind of hoping upon hope that we have enough. Most of the dogs are going down. Okay, that's good. I'm out of units to summon though. Dang, I really misplayed by not desummoning the giant slayers. Now I'm really wishing that I had them. We will be able to get the point though. And I will be able to maybe summon some miners here to get onto this flank point. But it is sauce, man. It is sauce, especially with the middle getting stolen now. What I really needed was to just fight this way earlier, because we actually had a winning army. Dang, man. Dang. Oh, yeah. I should have desummoned. I could have had a giant slayer here, and I could have had like a giant slayer here. We would have been so fine. It was actually really close, but I stood my ground instead of fighting. Well played to my opponent, though. Vampire counts are a menace. But I hope that it gives you some Dawi ideas. The Banshees are... if single entities lose HP, they don't lose capture weight. That's one of the special things about them. They totally don't care about that. But yeah, I should have just fought this. We were actually trading totally fine. Actually, pretty close game, all things considered. I think the artillery play was cool, but not enough. GG, well played. Well played to meet you with the sick vampire counts play. They're a tough faction to deal with if you don't have the right play style and composition. I do think this is a bad matchup for dwarves. But yeah, oh man, dude, if I desummoned here, it would have been so good. It would have been so good. There you go. At Michu, congrats on the vampire counts win. Flame cannon was okay. I did have to resummon it. It was pretty funny shooting at a lot of his infantry. I think the map was not the best either. And Gyro Bomber against Vampire Counts was just the wrong unit to take, right? So what we really needed here was more Slayers. So like, I think if I did this, oh, he would have been super dead. He would have been super duper dead, especially with how the early game went. I think it was close enough. Hopefully that's enough dwarven tactics for you. He gets the dub. Let's finalize the tournament. Those vampire counts versus dwarves. And tomorrow we will have greenskins. A much more diverse faction. We won't have to worry about matchups as much. And what I really want to go for greenskins is this bad boy. I really want to do... I want to try some here we go strats, because from what I've seen, it really makes your cavalry crump extremely hard. I think I've been severely undervaluing here we go and Fist of Gork, so keep an eye out for that. I'm the only no-lifer left. Yeah, Daniken and Charix really aren't playing a lot, but as long as Charix doesn't get too rusty, I think he'll still be a menace. But yeah, I really want to try here we go. Meaty Dangler, I'm sure we'll be very excited to see. Rune Priest? No, Rune Priest. The explosion ability, it's really low DPS. The cooldown is way too long. A unit of miners would be faster. We should be focusing more on the misplays there, because I wasn't aggressive enough. And I didn't get my important resummons. You gotta be careful. You change up the build, the Rune Priest would be so garbage. Because yeah, they don't really do anything. And they just died to his lord. But yeah. Also, maybe we can try with some troll action. So now that trolls are cheaper, we can run in a Black Orc Big Boss on the cheap with Rabble Rouse. So he'll have Encourage and ITP for the trolls. It's kind of like Archaon. Maybe there's something there that'll cook. He has pretty good stats too, I don't know. You take this guy, 1,000,000 normal trolls. Call me crazy, but you never know. You can put him on a boar, so he's a fast super fighter. We'll see. For now, though, hope you guys had a great stream. Be streaming at the same time as today, tomorrow. And have a wonderful rest of your day. I need to get food. I am absolutely starving. Peace. Peace, peace, peace.